the leaders in that tough division. Hello, everyone. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Dick, this is not only a time for us to give thanks for the special things that we have in life, but also for the special people in our lives. And we'd like to send along Thanksgiving greetings to all the special people that we have and share those Thanksgivings with.
Well, just like the players do, we want to say hello to our moms, to mine in Bay City, Michigan, and happy Thanksgiving to Merlin's mother out in Logan, Utah. Save us a piece of white meat. You played in this game a couple of times. Is it special for the players?
It is, Dick, not only because of the tradition and the excitement, but also it's a working day for the other teams in the NFL. And they're all gathered in their locker rooms or training rooms and looking at monitors. They're going to be watching this game. You add that to a full national audience, and this game does have a special spotlight.
Well, we have talked about Billy Sims and Franco Harris on NFL 83. No need to go any further there. We'll watch them in action. But how about the quarterbacks? Two men who have migrated up from third string. Cliff Stout, who's taken over for the injured Terry Bradshaw as the quarterback with the Steelers. And for the Detroit Lions, it's Eric Hipple. Hipple has beaten out Gary Danielson for the top spot.
Dick, neither of these quarterbacks having a great year statistically. Both young quarterbacks. And both coaches would rather rely on their running game if they can today.
There are a lot of traditions surrounding this game. One is the feeling that Thanksgiving Day means defense. The defense has had a shining moment almost every year.
You stop to think about defense in the NFL. Two of the teams you think about instantly, Detroit Lions, Pittsburgh Steelers. Won't be any different today. And one of the ways that defense will be exemplified, great pass rush. Willis and Gary, Gay and English. You're going to be seeing these young men climbing all over quarterbacks on the field today.
All right, then what will be the key to victory?
Dick, I think the running game is the key, and in particular because of the injuries to Detroit. I'm looking for the first down situations for Detroit. They're going to put their man back in that I formation, Billy Sims, and if he can average good yardage on first down against that defense of Pittsburgh, that will be the key to the game for them.
Well, Chuck Noll, the head man of the Steelers, he has a tough defense.
He certainly was in a good mood when we talked to him last night. Talked about a short week of preparation. Said he hoped that they could simplify things and get them off to a fast start in this ball game today.
Monty Clark, the Detroit Lions head coach in his 6th year. Losing seasons, although they did make it in the playoffs last year with a 4-5 record in that abbreviated strike season. Gary Anderson will kick it off for the Pittsburgh Steelers. On this Thanksgiving Thursday, we're underway. Ken Jenkins, number 31, at his goal line. Oh, is he hit at the 17-yard line as one of the Steelers downfield put a mean hit on him. David Little, number 50, and getting up slowly. Also 81, Paul Scanzi. Eric Hipple, the quarterback for the Lions. His running backs, Vince Thompson for the injured James Jones, and Billy Sims, one of the game's best. The receivers, Mark Nichols, he apparently has beaten out Freddie Scott. Jeff Chadwick, a rookie free agent for the injured Leonard Thompson, and the tight end is Ulysses Norris. First down from the 17. Hipple having to ad-lib his way, and he's out of bounds at the 21-yard line. That's something we expect to see from Cliff Stout, but not from Hipple. It's a gain of about 4. Chris Dietrich is the left tackle as we check the Lions starting offensive line. Homer Elias from Tennessee State at left guard. Steve Mott, he was a 5th-round draft pick out of Alabama. They really like him here in Detroit. Larry Lee of UCLA is at right guard, and Keith Dorney, an academic All-American and a Pro Bowler last year, is at right tackle. Ben Stater. 2nd down and 6. Sold out. First time the Lions have played before a home sellout this year. Nichols in motion. And they give to Sims. He's got yardage. He may go all the way now. He's at the 35, the 40. And finally, Dwayne Woodruff brings him down at the 47-yard line. What's that expression you use, Merlin? He's pumped. He's really pumped up for this.
You better believe he is pumped up, and he's got this crowd excited. Sims with a little shoulder fake, breaking over the left side, and all you need to do is give this man a little bit of room. Dorney getting a great block, runs right out of one tackle by Woods there, and he's off to the races. Dwayne Woodruff, 49, doing a good job of getting over and bringing him down.
30 yards for Sims. First down at the Pittsburgh 48. Sims again. He's got blockers. Cut inside, however, and ran right into Lambert and Cole after a 2-yard gain. Let's check that Pittsburgh defense for you, and they've been outstanding this year. Goodman starts at left defensive end. They make changes on passing downs. Gary Dunn, considered the best of the down linemen at nose tackle, and Tom Beasley opens at right end. The linebackers, Merriweather, the youngster that replaced Jack Ham so well. Jack Lambert leading the team in tackles again. Lauren Taves, the veteran inside, having a big year for them, as is Robin Cole. Maybe his best as a Steeler, according to Noel. Woodruff at one corner, just made that tackle. Veteran Mel Blunt, Donnie Shell, and Rick Woods at free safety. 2nd and 8. Complete to Norris, the tight end at the 39. Knocked out of bounds. He'll be very close to a first down.
Dick, a basic difference in these two teams. The Pittsburgh Steelers will employ a number of blitzes. They'll also use a lot of zone defenses, whereas Detroit likes to go man-to-man and does not favor the blitz.
3 tight ends sent in by Monty Clark, so Norris, Rubik, and McCall to add blocking strength on 3rd and less than 1 at the Pittsburgh 38. Just underway on this Thanksgiving Day. It's cold outside. It was rainy yesterday. Temperature dropping rapidly into the 30s. It was comfortable indoors. Hipple on the sneak, and he has plenty of yardage and a first down. Couple of yards for Hipple.
Dick, this is a unique stadium. The crowd is right on top of the field. And this is a tough crowd. If Detroit plays well, they will be a big factor in this game today. If Detroit gets behind by a couple of touchdowns, they may become a factor on the other side in this game.
Yeah, they've been frustrated here in Michigan, Detroit area. Of course, those championship years, 52, 53, 57, but since then been mighty lean, and the folks in these parts are hungry for a winner. And it's been a roller coaster year for Monty Clark and these Lions. One week they play brilliantly, and then they fade the next, and their record reflects that, 6-6. Sims, and then a reverse to Nichols, 40, 35, 30, and a first down at the 23-yard line.
One of the things you do to a good football team is to take advantage of their reflexes. They put Sims to the outside. They know that every Steeler defensive man is eyeballing Sims, and they come right back with a reverse the other direction. Good play calling and a big first down. Quick look at it. Sims getting the ball, just hands off quickly, and everyone on the defense was pulled to the outside, to the left side. A smart play call. Good block in there by Hipple himself. Driven out of bounds again by Woodruff.
13 yards on the play. The Lions with the opening kickoff, marching deep in Pittsburgh territory. Vince Thompson replacing the injured James Jones. Thompson from Villanova, a free agent, actually was out of football, was working as a track coach in Leventon, Pennsylvania, when invited to what the Lions called their gong show tryout, where everyone came in, and Thompson won a job. He's a good blocker, a good runner. He's not the receiver that James Jones of Florida, the top pick of the Lions out of Florida, is, and Jones won't play today with a bad rib.
Said he couldn't even bend over yesterday. Hated to be out of this ball game.
Lions are very fond of his talents, Jones. Thompson again, hoping that the Steelers would be keying on Sims, and he battles to the 15. Goodman makes the stop. It'll be 3rd down and a long 2.
Ted Marchibroda, the offensive coordinator for the Lions, has really built this Lion offense around the talents of Billy Sims, featuring him and then featuring the kind of frustration he brings to a defense, knowing that they're going to be focusing on him, able to fake to a Sims and give the ball inside to the fullback or go to the passing game.
Here's that mass substitution. The Steelers, almost like a hockey team, over the boards they come. 4 new players looking for the pass. Nichols and Chadwick along with Scott. Wide open. 1st and goal at the 3-yard line. Jeff Chadwick, his 24th catch this year, a free agent out of Grand Valley State up in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Eric Hipple is the kind of quarterback that can hurt you when he gets hot. He has it going here in the early part of this ball game. Donnie Shell had left the ball game a few moments ago, gets back in and is greeted by this play. Chadwick, an impressive young receiver, very quick in and out of his cuts, simply ran away from the veteran Shell.
Boyce Chadwick, a light 185, a big catch, and it's 1st and goal as the Lions use 3 tight ends. Vince Thompson, and a greeting party of Steelers as 4 white jerseys smother him. Robin Cole, 56, 67 Gary Dunn, Mike Merriweather, 57, all there.
First hit by Merriweather, and then Cole just buried him. Good defensive play. The Lions are going to have to go again from the 2-yard line.
Now, this is Pontiac, Michigan, despite the fact there are a lot of Steeler fans here. And even at the hotel last night, there was quite a greeting party for this Pittsburgh team as they arrived after practicing at Three Rivers earlier in the day. Sims. Touchdown, Detroit.
You get a feeling for the response on the 2 sidelines. This is the main man for Detroit. Get the ball to Sims. Look how well he works in behind the blocking of Thompson. But it's his acceleration, his cutting ability, his vision, and eventually his strength that got him across the goal line.
Eddie Murray's kick is through, and the Lions impressively staying primarily on the ground, score on a 2-yard run by Sims. He caps an 83-yard opening drive in 11 plays. 7-0 Lions.
You really can't judge the true character of Thunderbird without touching one. Nothing can tell you how it fits like sitting in one, or how it feels like discovering one, or how it performs like driving one. Even the way it looks improves the way it drives. Thunderbird. Have you driven the best-built American cars? Have you driven a Ford lately?
When IBM personal computer owners look for good software, where can they turn? To IBM for programs that help you keep up with modern times. Business programs, entertainment, productivity, education, and more. The variety you want with the quality you expect in the growing library of IBM personal computer software. A well-balanced selection at a store near you.
Well, the Lions roar early. Sims, a 30-yard run, then the reverse by Nichols, the pass from Hipple to Chadwick, and then the 2-yard touchdown for Sims, who is also the cheerleader today. Even in the introduction of the starting lineups, he was out there really trying to get his team ready. He's a highly competitive, emotional athlete, as well as being extremely well talented. Odom and Harris, 2 youngsters, rookies, back for Pittsburgh as Eddie Murray kicks it off, and Pittsburgh will have its first chance. It's the longest drive all season against that Steeler defense for a touchdown. 83 yards. Good hit by Murray. 1 yard deep. Here comes Harris. Got that Odom at the 10. Odom fumble. Who's got it? Pittsburgh out of that crowd of Honolulu Blue of Detroit. Reaching through was, well, it was Horace King who made the tackle, but the Steelers recovered the ball.
And a big, big break. It looked for a second that there was no chance that the Steelers could get that football. Literally a sea of Lion players around it. Good twisting hit there, but it's this shot by King right straight into the football that shook it loose. Now look at how many Lion players have a shot. Diving in. Is that Merriweather? Mike Merriweather finally got his hands on the football?
Yep, he saved the day. Pittsburgh begins at the 17. Franco, is he? No, it's not Harris, it's Pollard. Well, we'll get it right. It's Abercrombie. So he starts in the backfield with Harris, and Abercrombie is rather rudely welcomed into the game. Cliff Stout, the quarterback for the Steelers. Walter Abercrombie at one running spot, and the incomparable Harris at the other. Greg Garrity will open at one wide receiver spot, and Calvin Sweeney leads the Steelers with 32 catches. Ben Cunningham has 29, the tight end. Stout faces 2nd and 11. Harris gets an opening at the 20 and down at the 24. It's interesting to note that Franco Harris has, in his last 2 years, the longest run is only 16 yards. So he's earned every inch as he goes after Jim Brown's mark. His blockers are Ted Peterson at left tackle from Eastern Illinois, Craig Wolfley from Syracuse, the center, the All-Pro Mike Webster, and on the right side, Rick Donnelly of North Carolina for the injured Steve Corson, and Larry Brown back in the lineup starting at right tackle, the Pro Bowler from Kansas.
Tunch Ilkin spent some time in the hospital this week. They've got Larry back in. They'll see how long he can play.
3rd and 4. Intercepted by the Lions. Fantetti on the carom. Greg Hawthorne, ball right through his arms and into that of the waiting linebacker Fantetti.
There should be a category of undeserved interceptions, at least as far as quarterbacks are concerned. Cliff Stout puts this one right in the arms of Greg Hawthorne, but you've got to credit Fantetti. Great ball reaction as he sees the ball bouncing out of Hawthorne's chest and simply dives in there and scoops it off the turf. Big turnover, good field position for Detroit.
Lions -5 this year, while the Steelers are a +8. And nothing on that play. Slacked up by Dunn and Lambert. They say the ball was down. Let's go back to the takeaway ratio, turnover ratio. So critical, and of course the Redskins have really flourished in that department, by far the best in the NFL. But the Steelers a +8, and they have 7 touchdowns on defense. The Lions are a -5, but boy, they flirted with getting the ball from the time Pittsburgh took the kickoff. Almost had it on the tackle of the kickoff of the Steelers, and they get it on Fantetti's interception. Leading 7-0. We're in the first quarter. 7:50 remaining in the period. Time is called by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Unusual timeout, Merlin.
Must have some kind of problem down there. Lambert going to the sideline.
Well, we featured Billy Sims and Franco Harris on NFL 83, and we'll be watching them closely throughout the course of today's game, and we'll also feature them going into commercial, going all the way back, in some cases, to their childhood.
Franco's real strength is his consistency. You know, there have been a lot of people that have been good for 1 game, 1 season, 2 games, 2 seasons, but he's been a factor for 12, 13 years. How many? I can't even remember.
Teddy misses you, Daddy.
Sweet talking daddy's girl, how good you make me feel. Trucking down the interstate, shoulder to the wheel.
Rocky misses you, too.
Your words will keep me company when I'm on my way. Daddy's on the move again, but Daddy's close to home.
Guess who else misses you?
Reach out.
When you can call anywhere you want, anytime you want, that's reach out and touch someone. That's AT&T.
When you've got a big job to get done, get the small truck that's up to it. Ford Ranger V6. In a survey of owner-reported problems during the first 3 months, Ranger quality was unbeaten by any major small truck, import or domestic. There's a wider cab than any import, and its V6 engine rises to the top in power. More horsepower than Chevy S10 or any import.
My hero.
Can I call you sometime tonight?
Okay, but don't leave me hanging.
The best-built American trucks are built. Ford Tough.
Tonight, it's Animal Bloopers. An all-new special with our furry, fuzzy, feathered, and funny friends. Animals are the funniest people. Tonight.
Former Heisman winner at Oklahoma, Billy Sims, number 20. 3 years in the league, 3 times in the Pro Bowl. He is an exceptional athlete, and the Steelers, to the man, defensively acknowledging that he has some talents that very few have in this league. He has the touchdown, 7-0 Detroit. Hipple in trouble. And no, that'll be a sack. He was in the grasp and control of the tackler, and the Steelers have their first sack today, their 43rd of the year, as Harvey Clayton, a defensive back, made the hit.
This is the kind of situation that the Detroit Lions wanted to avoid. Long yardage. The Steelers put in their special defenses and special personnel swarming out there. Lambert up in front of Hipple. Clayton slipping in to get him. He could not see his receiver. Ulysses Norris was open, but he could not see over the top. Hipple, not the biggest of quarterbacks.
Loss of about 5. Lions 3rd and 15 from the Pittsburgh 37. Shotgun first time for Hipple. 40. He has the first down at the 20.
One nice thing about young quarterbacks, their legs aren't all messed up. They can still run. Hipple is averaging 4 yards per carry on the season, and he is not afraid to run. A quick look at Hipple. Now watch Hipple. He's going to take this football in trouble, sprint out to his left, and when he sees that there is nowhere to go, he's simply going to break it up the side. Feels the pressure. Keith Willis right there actually cutting down Dunn on the inside, doing a job of blocking for Hipple. But what a good job of getting outside and sprinting down the sideline. And you see him running past the yellow flag.
Holding also the call on the play, so 5 more yards are tacked on after Hipple ducked out of bounds inside the Pittsburgh 17. So the Lions leading 7-0 midway through this first quarter, and a chance to jump out with a big early lead against a tough Steeler defense.
This is a team that loves to get out and run early.
Sims almost fumbled the handoff and still makes yardage. Oh, he did a nervous juggling act.
One of the places I mentioned earlier that this Steeler defense is not a blitzing team. One of the places they do blitz is on first down, and they're basically run blitzes. They got great penetration. You see Merriweather all the way in, but Sims is so quick. He's able to just adjust himself and get his body around, jumps over the top, does a great job of saving what looked to be a broken play and getting some good yardage.
Second down and a long 6. Sims, 15 to the 10, and fights inside to the 9. And Sims, with all of his agility and great talents that way, unlike some of the scatbacks, Chuck Noll last night, he compared him to Joe Washington, only he said he also has the size and strength to overpower you.
Talking to Lambert, I talked to Lambert about Sims, and I said, you've watched him, you looked at the film, what do you think? He said, I can't believe this guy. He said he has all of this power, all this skill, and he's still fighting for every single yard he can get. He jumps in the air, leaps over the pile. He said just absolute disregard for his body. Tremendous praise from Jack Lambert.
A man who knows about disregarding one's physical health. Dwayne Woodruff apparently okay, shaken up on that stop. It's 7-0 Detroit.
Ford Truck Week is on now, the biggest Ford truck sales event of the year. Get special 84 Ranger pickups at a breakthrough $59.93 price. Get Explorer pickups with free air conditioning. Sticker price at $733. Ford Truck Week is on. Get great factory closeout savings on tough 83 Ford vans, Broncos, and full-size pickups, all with great clearance prices. Get sky-high deals at your Ford dealer now. But hurry, they're going fast during Ford Truck Week.
Nobody looks at office automation quite like Wang. Other computer companies only see the pieces to the puzzle. Data processing, word processing, personal computing. But Wang looks at how all the pieces fit together and gives you one solution that fits everyone's needs. A total solution no other computer company can match. Bringing everything in your office closer together is what puts Wang way ahead.
You've read the newspaper accounts. You've seen the photographs. Now, score it for yourself. Hagler Duran, at a special time on NBC Sports World, Saturday.
Wherever you may be, thank you for sharing this Thanksgiving Day with us on NBC Sports. It's 7-0 Detroit.
Watch the tight ends. Doris here and McCall, number 81, coming in, sealing off. What a great job of blowing open a hole for Billy Sims.
The ball is at the 9-yard line, 3rd, and a long 2 for Hipple. He brings in the wide receivers. The tight end's out, 3 wide receivers, and he'll work out of the shotgun. Incomplete. Chadwick was the closest Lion, and Hipple hit the dust as Lambert came through on a blitz.
Pittsburgh Steelers deciding they're going to have to do something to shake the Lions early in this ball game. Have uncharacteristically uncorked a great deal of blitzing here. They come right after him, sit him down.
We have two outstanding place kickers in this game. Murray, one of those. He's missed only 4 times this year in 20 tries. And his counterpart, Gary Anderson, we'll get to him later. Also an outstanding year. This one will be a 27-yard attempt. And the Lions add 3 more. 5 minutes and 51 seconds remaining in the first quarter. The Lions turn the interception into a field goal and lead the Pittsburgh Steelers 10-0.
You're about to see the Ford Ranger leap to new heights in quality. Based on a survey of owner-reported problems during the first 3 months, Ranger quality was unbeaten by any major small truck maker. And Ranger has V6 power, more horsepower than Chevy S10 of the imports, and a wider cab than any small truck. For toughness, horsepower, and unbeaten quality, it's Ranger down-to-earth tough. The best-built American trucks are built Ford Tough.
After the volunteer fireman's drill, we handed out the beer, but we didn't tell them what kind it was.
It's light and it's smooth, mellow, refreshing, just great. I do want to know what it is.
It's Schaefer, today's Schaefer beer.
Is it Schaefer? Never thought I'd be drinking Schaefer. It's not bad. Not bad at all. I'm going to tell the guys at the firehouse to get Schaefer beer. It's good.
Today's Schaefer is better than ever. Try it in Schaefer Light. They'll make a Schaefer drinker out of you.
It's good beer.
Sunday on NFL 83, the Rams rushing rookie Eric Dickerson rolls into Buffalo against the Ferguson Cribbs touchdown machine. And you better watch out for Cushion's Colts as they cruise into Cleveland in the Big Bad Browns. Plus other regional action on NBC.
Seat some 80,000. The Pontiac Silverdome. Jack Lambert, his sack, or at least the pressure on the quarterback, Hipple, forced an incomplete. A key play in that last drive. The Lions settled for 3, 10-0. Harris and Odom are deep as Murray again kicks to Henry Odom. 10, 20, and to about the 27-yard line, and a flag is down. Steve Doig made the tackle, second-year man from New Hampshire for the Lions. And apparently the penalty against Pittsburgh, illegal use of the hands. So the Steelers will start deep in their own end. Let's check the Lions defense, and it's a restructured defense. Curtis Green. William Gay has moved from starting right end inside to left tackle. Doug English, a Pro Bowler at right tackle, and they made room for this youngster. We'll watch him. 66, Mike Kofer, rookie, Tennessee. Gary Cobb at one linebacker spot in the 4-3 alignment. Fantetti, the leading tackler for the Lions again, and Jimmy Williams, a #1 draft pick a year ago. The deep four, Bobby Watkins, who leads the Lions with 4 interceptions. The other corner, Bruce McNorton, he has 3 steals. The safeties are Alvin Hall and William Graham. Steelers begin at their own 12-yard line. Abercrombie. A yard or two. Jimmy Williams and William Graham made the tackle, and that play just didn't seem to get off very well.
It certainly didn't. Good pressure initially, and the 4-3 defense that the Lions employ, if they can dominate on the line of scrimmage with that big defensive line, can really wreak havoc with you. Chuck Noll talking about how fortunate they were to have played a 4-man line last week in Minnesota and getting ready because of the short week. It helped them in their preparation. Hasn't helped them so far in the game, however.
I want to get back to that short week because it is an important part of this Thursday game. Abercrombie saw brief daylight, but Gary Cobb, former University of Southern California Trojan, made the stop short of the first down. You had to prepare. You play on a Sunday, and then you have to go on the road for a Thursday game. What's it do to the Steelers?
Well, it was interesting. It certainly favors the home team because that extra travel is just an added problem. Chuck Noll was talking about practice. He said in one day of practice we had to do Thursday and Friday and Saturday practices all in one. He said you just can't get ready for a game like this. You go with a short schedule and simplify things to get ready.
3rd down and 6. Lions use an extra defensive back. Stout in trouble. Intercepted by the Lions at the 24-yard line. Alvin Hall, his 2nd of the year.
One of Cliff Stout's problems throughout this season is that he has sometimes thrown the ball to the men in the wrong colored uniforms. Has 9 touchdowns, now 14 interceptions. Gets away from Koper there and then fires the shot deep. But Alvin Hall had really done a brilliant job of reading Stout. Stout takes a little time to get rid of it. That's all Hall needed to step in front of Sweeney and pull the interception down.
Sims and Thompson behind Hippel at the 23 of the Steelers. Sims on a delay. Look at the desire. He's all the way to the 12.
A little draw play. Not much of a play until Sims breaks it outside. Goes right through Robin Cole on the tackle attempt there. Gets away from Dunn and up in the air. Look at him fighting for that. That's the thing Jack Lambert was talking about. He said he fights for every single inch he can get.
Runs like a bucking bronco. Man from Hooks, Texas, Billy Sims. And they're waiting for him this time, and maybe a loss of a yard. Robin Cole said, not 2 times in a row. Give me another chance. 53 yards already for Billy Sims. Cliff Stout been intercepted twice in this first quarter. 1 not his fault. 10-0 Lions. 3 minutes and 12 seconds left in this first quarter. Boy, if they score a touchdown here, the Steelers are really going to have to dig out of a deep hole.
They certainly are. They're already behind the 8 ball a bit. Let's see if the Steeler defense can respond.
Wide open. Ulysses Norris, touchdown. He leads the Lions in touchdowns. That's his 6th of this season.
The Steelers play a pressure defense, a big play defense. Norris working on 2 linebackers. Cole and Taves, 56 and 51, starts across and stumbles. They may have lost him there, and he's all by himself. Got to believe that somebody blew the coverage there, Dick.
Murray just hooks that one in. And the Detroit Lions here in the first quarter, 1 impressive 83-yard drive, then 2 interceptions deep in Steeler territory have led to 10 more points.
Detroit fan arriving here, perhaps expecting to see the stumbling team that had played last week. The Lions are red hot.
17 big ones on the board for the Honolulu Blue and Silver.
While Atari keeps trying to sell you new systems like the 5200, with ColecoVision you only need one system, because ColecoVision expands to give you a Super Action controller set with Super Action Baseball, a driving module with turbo, an expansion module to play all Atari 2600 games, and only ColecoVision plugs into the Atom module to become the complete Atom computer system. So if you don't want to keep buying new systems, there's only one system to buy, ColecoVision. Sorry, Atari.
There's still time to get to Sears' biggest automotive sale of the year. Save 10 to 50% on every Sears tire. Weather Handler all-season radials as low as $99 a set of 4. Road Handler highway radials as low as $44.99 each. 10W40 oil, 79 cents a quart, and Die-Hard car batteries just $49.99 with fee. Sale ends Saturday. At Sears, we install confidence, day and night.
There's more for your life at Sears.
Arnold Palmer, Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus, and Tom Watson. Golf's greatest foursome plays the Skins Game, only on NBC Sports.
You're the answer, man. I just got the big question, though, for you. A couple folks outside want to know, what kind of meat, turkey, do you like? They're getting ready for you.
I used to eat a whole turkey, not just part of the turkey.
Doesn't matter. Just serve it up.
That's right.
for the Detroit Lions. They are serving rather painfully. 17-point early lead that the Steeler defense will find difficult to digest. That one was quick. Less than a minute and a half for Ulysses Norris to gather in that 13-yard pass after the interception by Alvin Hall. Cliff Stout and the Steelers work to do, but plenty of time in which to get it done. 2 minutes and 44 seconds left in the first quarter. Lions trying to make it 500 on Thanksgiving Day. To the right, Abercrombie has a first down at the 33-yard line. Bobby Watkins made the tackle. Good block by Rick Donnelly of the Steelers.
Donnelly and Webster both out in front of that little screen, and that play, of course, designed to, again, to take advantage of the reactions of a good defense. They're faking the little screen out to the left and then flip it right back on the right side. You see Donnelly, who's already made his block here. Actually, the man gets off the block right there. It's Cobb, but Donnelly had slowed him up enough to keep him out. Take it back. That was Webster's block there, and Donnelly's downfield.
From the 34. Incomplete to Calvin Sweeney. Bruce McNorton from Georgetown of Kentucky on the coverage.
That's the kind of situation, second and long, third and long, that you love to get into if you've got a good pass rushing defensive line. And this Detroit defensive line gets a great many sacks. They don't have the number of sacks that Pittsburgh does as a team, but as a defensive line, they have virtually all of their 31 sacks.
The All-Pro Mike Webster takes the Steelers out of the huddle. 2nd and 10. Unload, and it's incomplete on the sidelines as the Lions, mixing it up, brought 2 men right up over the center of Mike Webster.
Now, we mentioned that Lions really don't do that much blitzing, and they've changed their character a little bit today. They came right after him on that play, right up the gut, able to get William Gay sprung into there. He was the guy that was sitting right on top of Stout, forced Stout to throw early. Looking at the touchdown and interception records of quarterback there.
Stout a -4 this year, despite the fact his team is 9-3. 3rd and 10. Stout looking for a block, and he gets one, and a first down out at the 49-yard line. And remember, Stout is the top running quarterback, unfortunately for the Steelers, sometimes for his own life, but nevertheless leads all NFL quarterbacks with 368 yards running this year.
15 yards on that play, and the block from number 32, Franco Harris, down there in front of him, clearing the way.
As it developed, didn't appear he had enough room, but Harris's block gave him that opening.
You'll feel him coming downfield here. Couldn't find the open receiver. There's Franco right there. Good block. Bobby Watkins on the side there.
At midfield, first down Pittsburgh, trailing 17-0. Abercrombie gets a block, 45, 40, and a first down at the Lions 38 before Bruce McNorton can make the tackle for the Lions along with Alvin Hall. There's some of the black and gold from Pittsburgh cheering their team.
Just a tremendous block on that play from number 55, Rick Donnelly, who cut underneath. It looked like he took down 2, maybe even 3 of the Lions. Abercrombie is their big play man. He likes to break it deep. A little bit of the action taking place. There's number 55 right at the bottom of your screen. Look at him, stacked him up, had 2 good shots right there to clear the way.
Frank Pollard, his first carry. And he had a knee down, whistled down at about the 33-yard line. Pollard has had a good year. He's quietly picked up 413 yards on a good rushing average, 4.3.
In fact, his rushing average, except for Stout's average, the best on the team. Certainly the best of any of the running backs.
Bill Gay, 79, in on the tackle.
Originally drafted as a tight end by Denver, if you can believe it. And seeing him in the locker room, he is huge. Of course, has gone to the weights with his new responsibility as a defensive lineman.
Second down between 5 and 6. Pollard wrapped picked up by 23, Maurice Harvey, veteran safety, short of the first down, just inside the Lion 30, where it'll be third down and less than 2.
With Dan Wagner out, Maurice Harvey, brought him in from Denver, has done a good job. You'll get a feeling for being right in the middle of the ball game with this one. A finesse pass. Look how softly Stout lofts this one over the top. Now watch this connection with Maurice Harvey and Frank Pollard. A good one-on-one tackle.
Big down for the Steelers, third and short. And it's Franco picking the hole and a first down.
Fumble.
Yes, it is a fumble, and who's got it? The Lions do, unless it was whistled dead.
Now they're saying he was down. I don't know. It looked to me like that ball was bouncing around in there.
Gary Cobb says, I've got the pumpkin.
I think we better take a look at that one. It certainly seemed to me that ball was out early, but maybe a knee was down before it came loose.
First down.
Said the ball was shaken loose by contact. Harris just shaking here. Look how he shakes and finally feels an opening and breaks up. Let's see if we can spot the football. It'll pop it. There it is, right there. Well, absolutely no way to tell where Franco's knees were. He was in the middle of that mass.
And with that play, the Steelers have a first down at the Lion 26, the end of the first quarter. And here in the Silverdome, the partisan Lion fans have celebrated an early lead.
Introducing the amazing Renault Encore. Look how it feels to mold to the road with four wheels suspended independently. Feel it flow through hairpin curves. Look how the new Encore feels as it almost ignores gas pumps and provides front-wheel drive for extraordinary cornering. For an amazing 5755 European design built in America, the new Renault Encore. Amazing.
The one to watch, the one to watch, the one to watch.
Renault.
Shooting on location is a real challenge. But how good a picture is can depend on how good the paper is it's printed on.
That's why the photographers I know use Kodak paper. Not just for the pictures we earn our living with, but for personal pictures, like these. Because what a picture says on the back says a lot about how it looks on the front.
Kodak paper. The only way to be sure you get it is to ask for it at a retailer displaying this new sign.
Hi, I'm Steve Wynn, and this is one of the beautiful suites in the Golden Nugget of Las Vegas, which, as everybody knows, is downtown. Nevertheless, you'd be amazed if you knew how many people think that this is uptown. Hi, Mr. Sinatra. I'm Steve Wynn. I run this place.
You see, I got enough towels.
Towels?
Golden Nugget, Las Vegas, Atlantic City.
Well, a happy holiday. Take time to love your friends and your family. Walter Abercrombie.
Ralph Berlin overworking on his knee just a minute ago, Dick. They're a little concerned. He's left the ball game, and of course that's not a good sign. He's the big play man for Pittsburgh. They miss his speed and explosiveness if he's not in there.
Steelers open the second quarter trailing Detroit 17-0. A first down at the Lions 26. Frank Pollard backdoors his way for 3 or 4. Williams and Cobb, the two outside linebackers for the Lions, made the tackle. Official statistics in the first quarter, Merlin.
Certainly stats will favor the Lions there. Biggest stat, time of possession. Yardage, very big in favor of the Lions, 125 to 65. Steelers would very much like to get those balanced out a little bit. Biggest stat they'd like to balance is the one on the scoreboard.
And the turnovers 2-0 in that first quarter that led to the Lions. And they come with a blitz. Jimmy Williams, #1 pick of the Lions last year from Nebraska, native of Washington, D.C., and he came through cleanly.
Well, a little bit of a change-up. And certainly the Cliff Stout surprised. Have not seen that many blitzes from Detroit. Situation like this, and here he comes. Nobody even there to look at him to help Stout in the backfield. He's all by himself. From the right side of your picture, number 59. Look how quickly, good anticipation. Look how quickly he's in on top of Stout. No chance for the quarterback.
The 30th sack this year for the Lion defense. Third down, about 14. Stout in trouble. There's a man wide open, Calvin Sweeney, but he's hit short of the first down. Gary Cobb at the Lion 22, along with Roosevelt Barnes. 9 yards on the play.
A good decision by Stout, who could have run for fair yardage on that play. And Stout is still on the ground. He's holding his knee. That's certainly not a situation that Pittsburgh fans will relish at all, and he is hurt. He is really hurt.
Mike Kofer, the rookie we talked about from Tennessee, was applying the pressure. Gary Anderson will try a 39-yard field goal. Craig Colquitt to hold. 20 of the last 22 for Anderson. And that one is right down the center. In his young career, he's made 33 of 39. He might just have the classic style. It's 17-3, Detroit.
Come on, I'll race you back. You gotta be kidding. For Michelob Light? Catch you later. Michelob Light for the winner.
When a couple of guys really go at it like this for a beer, well, it is Michelob Light. The rich, smooth taste you can compare to any beer you like.
Too bad you missed that night back there.
Yeah, but I made this one.
Thanksgiving weekend and the big USA 1 year-end sales drive is on. Chevy dealers are out to sell 250,000 cars and trucks by year's end. With so many to sell, it's dealing time. And to make it easy to buy now, here's a first-time offer from Chevrolet. Take retail delivery now and make no monthly payment until March 1st with GMAC Finance. When you buy a new Chevette or Citation 2 or any new Blazer, pickup, Suburban, or El Camino, see your Chevy dealer now.
Monday, Johnny strikes back as he plays some classic practical jokes on his Hollywood friends. But can they take it? Johnny Carson's greatest practical jokes, Monday.
Cliff Stout shaken by that last tackle that he appears to be okay, but in case Mark Malone is tuning up on the sidelines and Bradshaw out, but there's no doubt that Stout can pull it out.
Well, I'd love to keep Stout in there. Malone has not taken a single snap during this NFL season.
Anderson, he puts it in the end zone again, and Jenkins won't run that one out. That's back at the 20. It's an interesting note that Stout is the only quarterback in the AFC to take every snap this year, and I think Bartkowski is the only other.
Yes, there are only 2 quarterbacks that have gone through this entire season without going to the sideline. Of course, this has been a year for quarterbacks in and quarterbacks out. Tremendous number of starting quarterbacks injured or replaced during this season. Stout has yet to finish a full season as a starter. I think this is, what, his 14th game as a starter, Dick?
That's right, and he's been around a considerable amount of time.
He sure has.
Well storied the fact he made the pension without ever playing it down. So the Lions leading 17-3 have it again. Early second quarter, 13 minutes left in the half. Big hole for Thompson, who burrows for 4.
Ted Marchibroda has done a good job of designing this game plan for today, and obviously knowing how strongly this Steeler defense was going to focus on Sims, has been able to use the deception of Sims outside and hand the ball to Thompson back inside for some good gains.
There's Marchibroda, the former Colts head coach.
Saw his game plan there in his left hand.
Sims ran right into the arms of Mike Merriweather and Gary Dunn.
In talking to Ted Marchibroda yesterday, he was giving me some information on the Steeler defense, and said he said the thing that impresses me every time I watch them play is how well prepared they are, and the fact that they never quit. They just keep coming. He said it's like they're kind of a throwback. They have the character of a team out of the 60s or the 70s.
Jack Lambert has not gotten up after that last tackle. There's the man who has led the Steelers in tackles for 10 straight years, counting this one. 8 straight years All-Pro. Needless to say, that could be critical.
Let's see what happened on this play. Lambert slipping a block as he does so well. Looks like he had his... Well, let's see what he does after he goes down.
Looks like Ron Johnson might have hit him in the back of that right knee. So Lambert being attended. We have a timeout here at the Silverdome. 12 minutes, 12 seconds left in the first half.
Franco was practicing, he was not a practice player. He'd go through the motions, very slow motions. And the coaches were wondering if they had made the proper choice. I think in our first exhibition game, Franco got his hands on the ball and he went 75 yards and all the question marks were solved.
Chevy Top taking charge.
S10 Blazer.
Earth.
Keep moving.
Wind.
Keep storming. S10 Blazer.
Fire.
Keep blazing. S10 Blazer.
Water.
Keep churning.
In all of nature, there's nothing like the thrill of an S10 Blazer. Chevy Top is taking charge.
Right now, the one thing you want most is an opportunity.
All that you can be. Oh, yeah. Keep on reaching. Keep on growing. Be all that you can be. You can do it in the Army. Be all that you
Working in Jack Lambert, the head trainer Ralph Berlin.
I'll tell you, that trainer becomes a more and more important man on the team this time of the year.
Hippel, 3rd and 5 at his 25. Uh-oh! Flag is down. I wonder if someone might have touched that ball defensively as it was being snapped. The flag went down. There might have been
right guard offense. Right guard.
Well, that whistle's at dead. So apparently the right guard, maybe he kicked it as he pulled away from the line too soon. Let's see.
Maybe we'll go back and look at it. But what a big break on that play for the Lions. And that ball is out and loose. Had the right guard not been moving. Ball just laid on the center, late on the snap. Nobody touched it, Dick. He just panicked when he realized he was late and snapped it. Let's see what Hippel says when that ball goes over his head. Boy, I'll tell you, that's an embarrassing moment. And then doesn't have a chance at it right here. First man down there, Keith Gary, number 93. Keith Willis, number 93.
Center Steve Mott, the rookie from Alabama. Talk about him after this play. Now 3rd and 10 for Hippel. Under a blitz. Going deep for Sims. And what an effort, and a flag goes down. Merriweather thought that he had gone for the ball, but I believe they'll call interference.
Well, that's one that can be debated. If you're a defensive player, you say Merriweather was robbed. If you're an offensive receiver, you say that's a great call.
Pass interference, number 57 defense, first down.
And we can take another look at that play and get a little insight into what actually did happen. Ball a little bit late getting into the air. Tremendous pressure on Hippel. It's right at the end there, and there was indeed contact before the ball had arrived. Now, the only way that Merriweather can get away with that is if he's making a legitimate attempt at the ball. And I think you could make a pretty good case for that. Now, let's go back and watch Hippel. Watch the blow he takes on the outside. Harvey Clayton, number 33 on the blitz, drops it heavy.
Well, it's a first down on the penalty. Lions at the 48 of the Steelers. Thompson has a good hold. 225-pounder hit by Ron Johnson at the 43-yard line. Today's game is brought to you by Chevrolet, official U.S. cars and trucks of the 14th Olympic Winter Games. Chevrolet and Buick taking charge. By the Ask For Motor Oil, Pennzoil, protection worth asking for. And by Sears, where you'll find great values. There's more for your life at Sears. Second down. Thompson again, pulling his way to a first down at the 35. Ron Johnson again, along with Mel Blount and Dwayne Woodruff. Bring him down.
Dick, toward the end of a season, very often injuries force you to go to the bench. You've got to pull somebody off, pull somebody out of there, dust them off, and say, hey, the job is yours. You've got to pull for us. And that's what's happened today. Vince Thompson has come on and just done a fine job on the other sideline. Someone that the Steelers don't want to do without. Abercrombie is not expected now to come back into this game at all.
See the ice pack on the left knee. Paul Scansey is also out for Pittsburgh. Thompson It's about 5 more down to the 28 before Donnie Shell can make the hit. Apparently Scansey suffered a head injury on the opening kickoff, and while he's okay, will not be allowed to return. So Lambert for the Steelers has come back in, but other than that, the news not good on the scoreboard nor the sidelines for Chuck Knoll.
Detroit Lions signaler plays into the ball game. They use the number 2 quarterback. Scansey still got a bit of a vacant look in his eyes on that sideline over there. Usually pretty protective of a young man who has his bell rung that way.
2nd and 4. Now to Sims, and he's greeted by Robin Cole. Cole, first-round pick from New Mexico for the Steelers. He'll bring up 3rd down and about 4 for the Lions.
Even on a bad play, and that certainly was not a good play by Detroit standards in this ball game, you get an idea of the quickness of Billy Sims. He just exploded back inside. Robin Cole strong enough in the hands and arms to pull him down.
He has an interesting superstition, Sims. He still wears his high school jersey under his game uniform now as a pro.
I hope they wash it every week.
What a catch by Jeff Chadwick, popped by Ron Johnson, and the youngster hangs onto the ball even though he was shaken on that tackle.
Part of the Pittsburgh philosophy of defense, don't let them get deep. If they catch it in front of you, come up and knock the ball loose or make them sorry they caught it. And boy, that's a whiplash if you ever saw one. Young Jeff Chadwick getting the benefit of a real shot by Ron Johnson, number 29.
Chadwick, a standing ovation from the near side fans as he came off the field.
He earned it.
You bet. 1st down at the 24. Veteran Freddie Scott has replaced Chadwick. Sims runs into his own blocker. There was a nice hole for Sims on the inside, but in trying to make his cut, ran right up the back of Thompson. Whoops.
On the tackle for Pittsburgh, John. Really very emotional in there. Dietrich, number 72, pulling across from his tackle position on the far side, does not get far enough in front there, and Billy Sims runs right smack into him. That little delay allowed the Steelers to come in and just swarm all over him.
Show you the power of Sims. Dietrich gained 3 yards on the play.
He's got a big bruise, too, I'll tell you that.
Plenty of time for Hipple. Wide open is Norris. And the tight end is to the 4-yard line.
Yards on the pickup to Norris. Reese McCall had gone deep after coming in motion. You'll see him come across behind and then come down in motion. And Hipple waited until Norris cleared across underneath the linebacker. Mike Merriweather, number 57, the man who was right there. There's Reese McCall. You see him tap the quarterback to tell him his bye. Now look how deep he gets. Pulls the defense deep. Allows the crossing pattern to Norris underneath. Big play. 1st and goal.
This one started back at the 20-yard line for the Lions. They were aided by an interference call, and Hipple's got them going for more. Sims.
Fumble.
Nope, stretches forward to the 4, hung onto the ball. And even when he was totally wrapped up, he was able to lean forward for a yard after it appeared he'd lose a couple.
Looked like that ball was loose momentarily. Kept his hands on it. Reese McCall, what a big tight end he is, and good speed downfield. Of course, that's one of the philosophies you try and use against the Steelers, knowing that they believe in staying deep with those defensive backs. You try and push them as deep as you can get them and then hit them underneath.
Trying to add to their 17-3 lead, the Lions. 2nd and goal. Hipple. Norris is wide open.
The Detroit Lions traded Dave Hill was that they believed that Ulysses Norris was going to be a real star for the Detroit Lions. He's really been a star today, Dick.
2nd touchdown, this one for 4 yards as Murray tries the point after. And the Lions build their lead to 24-3. An impressive 80-yard drive as Detroit's offense seemingly doing everything right, and Norris has been wide open all day.
This has come to run time. Hipple comes outside, not going to make it running the ball. He certainly will make it throwing the ball.
Sunday on NFL 83, the Rams rushing rookie Eric Dickerson rolls into Buffalo against the Ferguson Cribbs touchdown machine. And you better watch out for Cush and his Colts as they cruise into Cleveland in the Big Bad Browns. Plus other regional action on NBC.
Who is that Dexter Manley look-alike?
Well, he certainly hit it right on the head early in this ballgame. The Lions have been awesome.
80 yards, 11 plays, helped out by the interference call, and they lead 24-3. Murray sending it to Tim Harris. And the young man from Washington State is dropped at the 26-yard line by Robbie Martin. Cliff Stout brings his team on the field. Apparently Stout okay. He was telling you that he remembers coming up here to watch you play.
1975. Well, he didn't really come to watch me. He came to watch Ron Jaworski, who had, of course, played at Youngstown, where Stout eventually went to school. And Stout, of course, was in the process of breaking some of Jaworski's records at the time. That was a happy day for the Rams, a winning day. Stout would like to get out there with a winning score himself, but he's going to have to throw the ball to do it.
Deflected and intercepted by the... No, he did not hang on. He did not hang on. Bruce McNorton had it 3 or 4 times. Oh, he showed great leaping ability. Jump up in front of that one.
Tremendous leap and great hand-eye coordination and concentration as he batted that ball around and never lost track of it. Just a quick slant play. Good bat right there by Williams, I believe, the linebacker. Look at him going up after that football, and oh, it just wouldn't stay in his hands. Big break for the Steelers, but they're still 2nd and 10. And look out for the rush on this one. They're coming full bore.
6 minutes left in the first half, 24-3 Detroit. And Stout says, hey, stay back and help me out. Pollard and Franco, and it's Franco. Very little to the 28. Doug English, former All-American at Texas, making the stop.
Doug English, certainly one of the exciting tackles in the NFL. Quick look inside, number 79, Brown. Look at him right here in the middle of your picture, doing a great job working first on the tackle and then outside on Cobb, number 53. They're concerned about Brown. Well, and, oh, they don't want to see that. That's Kofor.
Ted Peterson.
Oh, excuse me. They're looking at the number and not the man. Ted Peterson. And with all the injuries that have been sustained by this Pittsburgh offensive line, they certainly do not want to see anyone else go down. Last week, Mike Webster came out of the hospital just in time for the game, and Chuck Noll wasn't going to let him play. And Webster said, look, I didn't get out of the hospital to sit on the bench. Played the whole game. This week, Tunch Ilkin has been in the hospital with a viral infection. They got him out, brought him in, and boy, when it rains, it pours. Steve Corson didn't even make the trip. Starting guard normally, and of course, Peterson plays right next to him.
Emil Boris from Pitt comes in at the tackle spot. Stout, 3rd and 7. Finds the open man. Greg Garrity, the rookie from Penn State, has a first down at the 40, 11-yard play. A reminder that coming up as we start to celebrate a long weekend of sports on NBC, we're calling this Sports Week 83, starting today. Tomorrow night, of course, we have the fight, but on Sunday it'll be completed with our NFL action, 83, NFL 83 at 12:30. Those are the early games. And one of the big games featured will be the Buffalo Bills and Los Angeles Rams, 2 teams in the thick of the fight for a playoff spot. So be with us on Sunday for more of the best of the NFL. Stout on first down, hits Franco, who's tackled immediately by Fantetti at the 47-yard line. Fantetti from the University of Wyoming, and Monty Clark refers to him as a deluxe hitter.
He certainly is that. Franco, good pass receiver. He worked on his hands over the years. Back early in the season, led the Steelers as a receiver as well as a runner. It's his 27th reception of the year.
And 299 in his career. One more for the 300 mark. 2nd and 3. sacks Stout. Stout felt the pressure from the left, had no idea that Cobb was coming from the other side. A flag is down, and so is Stout, who gets up slowly.
Sometimes when the linebackers arrive that quickly, they've jumped the gun just a bit to get there. Man, that Williams was jumping. Oh, they're going to call motion. Franco coming up to try and pick off Williams on this play, and look at that, right over the top. Stout has to be able to look past the rush. But boy, I'll tell you, that's difficult when you got two linebackers breathing down your throat.
Must have looked like two tidal waves coming in on him. That Williams flying from one side and Cobb the other.
Ed Beer, defensive coordinator for the Lions, changing it up today. He's got them flying.
3rd and 11 from the 40. Needs something big and doesn't get it. Greg Garrity wanted interference down at the Lion 40. Bobby Watkins, the defender, and the Steelers bring on the punting team.
I believe this is the first punt of the day. They've turned it over. They've had their problems. They'll finally kick it away, and this has not been a good first half for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And along with the score, 24-3 Detroit, the injuries that the Steelers are going to have to absorb, and of course the fear of how serious those hurts might be in affecting the run toward the playoffs. 4 games to go. We have an interesting statistic. In first place on Thanksgiving, how successful are you at the end of the regular season in remaining in first? Oops, the Lions, and there's contact by Rick Kane. A bit too eager. We'll see if he was drawn off.
Doesn't really matter. Even if it is a penalty, it won't be enough for the first down. They'll have to kick it away.
44 offense.
So everything going wrong for the Steelers. Odom pulled him offside.
Dick, I talked to Ahmad Rashad, and of course Ahmad played in a head-to-head confrontation with these Lions many times over the years, and he said one thing you don't want to do is get behind to them early at home. He said they just have the ability then to stretch out and get tougher, and he said the crowd really becomes a factor in a ball game because they are so loud.
And in turn, if they don't do well because of some losing years, they can turn on the home team. So the Steelers have walked into the toughest possible Lions den. Colquitt did a good job of catching the ball, but then scuffs one off to the left. It'll go out of bounds. The Lions are going to get the ball around the 35.
Colquitt angry. Difficulty sliding over, has to pick that one off in the air. And of course, when you break the rhythm of a kicker, you've caused him to get out of his normal frame, and he's not happy with himself. But believe me, it's not all his fault.
32-yard punt, and the Lions, leading big, will have the ball again. Good field position at their 33.
Billy gave the players something to hang their hats on. We always knew that when things got tough, Billy would get going. He gave us something to always feel as though we had that extra incentive that no matter how bad things were, we had a weapon that could bring us to the top.
This is the automobile you probably didn't expect from Mercedes-Benz. On the test track, it moves comfortably at more than 100 miles an hour. Its unique rear suspension provides extraordinary handling. Its quick reflexes exemplify legendary Mercedes-Benz engineering. More than just a new automobile, it is a new class of automobile. The new Mercedes-Benz 190 class.
7 years ago, Data Point sparked a revolution, a stream of energy called ARC, linking one information system to another and another, giving each machine new powers, letting them work together. The ARC local area network was born. And today, Data Point has more of them up and running than Wang, Xerox, and IBM combined. So for computers, workstations, office systems that work together, work with Data Point. We spark the revolution.
For Marvis Frazier, the time has come. His dream becomes reality. For Larry Holmes, a new challenge on his turf, the ring. Plus Ray Boom Boom Mancini, tomorrow night on NBC Sports.
Steelers' top speed back, Walter Abercrombie, that left knee wrapped, is out for the rest of this game. Eric Hipple has the Lions in front, 24-3. Less than 4 minutes left. First half, the Lions have run on every first down. They do it again. That's 16 times out of 16 the Lions have run on first down. Merlin, you said the key to the game would be the running game and stopping Billy Sims, and so far Steelers have not done that.
They certainly have not done it. In fact, the average is 4.7 on first downs, but perhaps a little change here as they do a good job of stuffing him on that particular play. And pressure right now on the Pittsburgh defense. They've got to get a big play going, and if it's going to happen, it probably will be from this man, Jack Lambert, who is their leader.
First on Thanksgiving Day, the last 12 years, you finish first 83% of the time. Only one on the average per year doesn't make it. Sims skidding out to about the 37-yard line. That's important enough, kind of like the 4th of July in baseball in first place. Thanksgiving Day usually marks the three-quarter mark, 4 games to go. And in the past, only 12 times out of a possible 72 has a team in first place on Thanksgiving not been first at the end of the season. So whether you're rooting for your club in first or trying to get into first, that's what history has dealt. Third down, 5. Flags down. Chadwick, knocked out of bounds immediately, is short of the first down at the 41, but let's check the penalty.
It appeared that Keith Willis, the left hand, gotten off to an early start. For a moment, I thought they were going to ignore it, but let's see if that is indeed it.
It's against the Steelers, offside.
A lot of times, the defensive ends can make a slight move toward the ball without going over, but apparently put his head over.
Well, the Pittsburghs had the line short of the first down. Detroit would have had to punt the ball, but instead that penalty will make it very close to a first down.
And you can understand the eagerness of a young man like a Keith Willis, who's had such an outstanding year. He just wants to get in there and do his job. And in the process, trying to listen to that snap count, actually listened a little too well. He's got to watch that football out of the corner of his eye, Dick.
First down.
Interior lineman defense, offside. First down.
Well, almost interior lineman. The official who called it was on the far side, and he's looking across and saw a head go across the line. And the head belonged to Keith Willis, number 93.
Well, what a pick Willis was. A free agent out of Northeastern in Boston and has 13 sacks this year for Pittsburgh. Billy Sims running again on first down. And out across the 46-yard line before David Little, number 50, to make the tackle.
We had mentioned James Jones, and that is not good news. You see Pete going off on the back of that wagon, and with the ice on the foot. A lot of foot injuries, Dick. Awful lot of foot and arch injuries, and certainly many of them coming on the artificial turf. But when you're already hurt in your offensive line, that's the last thing you want to look at.
And there's the 2-minute timeout on this Thanksgiving Day. The Lions are the ones feasting so far, 24-3 over Pittsburgh.
Thanksgiving weekend and the big USA 1 year-end sales drive is on. Chevy dealers are out to sell 250,000 cars and trucks by year's end. With so many to sell, it's dealing time. There's another reason to see your Chevy dealer. You can save up to $375 on a specially equipped Cavalier Type 10 or $330 on a new Celebrity. And for the first time ever from Chevrolet, take retail delivery now on any of these selected models only and make no monthly payment until March 1st with GMAC financing. See your Chevy dealer now.
Detailed studies of the human body, biomedical research, computer-aided design, 2 years and countless clay models, trying different shapes, new materials, doing it over, again and again, all to design a more comfortable, durable seat for General Motors cars and trucks. Leonardo would have loved it. Nobody sweats the details like GM.
Keppel takes the offense back on the field. Looks a little different, doesn't it?
Yes, he does. I got a chance to talk to him yesterday, and I was trying to figure it out. He said, shaved the mustache off. Things were not going well. He needed a change, so about Halloween time, he took the mustache off. Of course, there's the man who backs him up. He also signals in plays to Eric when he's out on the field.
And Mike McCurrick, the third-string quarterback. Second down and about 6, and Hipple protects the ball as he goes down at the 39. Lambert, his second sack today. And for the Steelers, who are tied with the Raiders for first place in the American Conference starting this week. That's their 44th of the year.
One of the most respected players in the NFL, number 58, Jack Lambert, and look how quickly he slides to the outside. He and Merriweather both in on top of Hipple, who has no chance. 3 linebackers in the blitz. The Steelers say, hey, we got to make the big plays, and I said it earlier, if they're going to get the big plays, often they come from Lambert, and he responds instantly.
He's the leader. Third down and a long 13. Good protection, and now it breaks down, and another sack for the Steelers. There may be a fumble, and the Steelers have it. 92, Keith Gary came up with the ball, and it is a Pittsburgh fumble recovery.
Steelers had been running the blitz. They came back with just the simple 4-man rush. Their 2 young defensive ends bowling from the outside. Gary from the right, Willis from the left. Gary working right there. Well, he's getting buried right there, but he gets up soon enough to see the football loose. Look at him reaching in there, just like digging it out.
I bet he's tough on Easter. I bet he is too. So the turnover the Steelers needed desperately, trailing 24-3, a minute 20 seconds left in this first half, and Pollard tripped up by William Graham, the strong safety from Texas. There's Graham, starter as a rookie last year.
Young man who's not afraid to come up and hit you, the number 2 tackler for this Detroit team, and did a good job right there. Stout upset about something.
Clock is stopped with 1:02 left, and now they wind it up. NFL 83 will join us at halftime. Well, that was too high for Paris and too short for Hawthorne, and a flag is down.
Well, I'm afraid there's going to be a holding call on that one. When you've had to revamp your offensive line as thoroughly as Chuck Noll and his staff have had to work on it, they really have some problems in there. They've got some people who just aren't used to being in that ball game very much.
Eugene Barth marches off at 10 out to the 42.
55 offense, holding, still second down.
Watching the right-hand corner of your screen, you see William Gay, 79, and that man kind of dragging along behind is number 55, Rick Donnelly, who doing everything he could to keep him off the quarterback, using the hands in the process.
52 seconds left in the half. 24-3, Detroit leads. Down the middle to Cunningham, and too tall for the tight end. Pittsburgh has really struggled offensively in this half.
They certainly have, and they have not played outstanding offense over the past few weeks. In fact, the running game, which usually has banked on Franco Harris, has not been able to generate. Harris himself only over 200 yards, 205 yards the last 4 games, averaging 3.2. Not the kind of productivity we're used to seeing from him. And Stout is not the kind of quarterback who can really bring you from behind with a passing game.
3rd and 20. By Garrity down at the 22, and a timeout by Stout. That's going to be a first down if it counts. Did Stout stop shy of the line of scrimmage?
I think he did.
Apparently so. Boy, that took some presence, didn't it?
He made a smart play. It appeared that he was going to run. He attacked the line of scrimmage here and then backs off and throws a little dying quail. Now it dies right in the hands of Garrity, and that's a big play.
It's inside the line 22, and they first down on 3rd and 20. He picks up 21. 36 seconds left in the half.
Glad you could be a part of this.
For his enshrinement into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Mr. Sonny Jurgensen.
Vince Lombardi and all the other.
I never thought I would be here, but to be here in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, it's like coming home again. It's a dream when you come from North Carolina and a little school down there, and then you play at Duke University, a team that really didn't throw the ball very much. Very fortunate to get in professional football.
As an NFL quarterback, Sonny threw for over 30,000 yards. He's still ranked as the #1 lifetime passer in the NFC. Vince Lombardi said of Sonny, "The thing about Jurgensen is he always wanted to win so fiercely. All the great ones have that."
Hall of Fame is a great place. I'm sure that some young kid could come in here and look at these things and make a decision whether or not he would like to be a professional football player.
This is where all those dreams come true, in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. Don't miss it.
Look at Noel. You don't have to explain what he's feeling.
No, nor do you have to register the worry on Tom Moore's face. He's the offensive coordinator, deeply concerned about the injuries and the ineffectiveness of the offense so far.
36 seconds left in the half. Steelers desperate for a score before the half. Won't get it that way as Calvin Sweeney. Well covered. It was out of his reach anyway as Graham and Hall on the coverage.
Detroit Lions, one of the most active defensive lines in running stunts. They are busy attacking that Steeler offense with them. We'll try and get a few of them for you later in the ball game.
I wonder why you were wiping your chin. You do salivate every time you see those defensive stunts.
I'll tell you, the games that were most fun for me were games when you had a team down, you knew they had to throw the football, and you just leaned out and went after the quarterback, and that's what's happening right now on the field.
Yeah, they're not going to get in the end zone on that play. 2-yard gain as they hit Cunningham, the tight end, and he was hit by Bobby Watkins. Timeout with, well, the clock is still running. They didn't take the time.
17-16 and moving it on down.
Remember, the Steelers called a timeout back in the first quarter when they were on defense, so they have only one timeout left. Oh! Intercepted by Bruce McNorton, and so goes the Steelers threat.
Cliff Stout just saying, what in the world going on here? Looked like Calvin Sweeney may have quit on the pattern. Pattern kind of thrown off. Stout a little late getting the ball off. And Stout over there to ask him, hey, why didn't you follow through on the pattern? Stout is looking at the receiver who's coming across, and Sweeney stopped. Ball, of course, thrown in front of him, and no chance. Good play by McNorton to get it, but they were well within range of a field goal. At least they could have had the 3 points or a shot at it.
A dismal Pittsburgh first half about to end. 5 seconds remaining, and the Lions, in contrast, playing flawlessly.
Well, they're taking the football away, aren't they? Well, we talked about defensive tradition. The Lions have taken it beyond tradition today.
They have growled and lead 24-3 at the end of the first half here at the sold-out Pontiac Silverdome. The score at the intermission, the Lions 24, the Steelers 3.
Really had to do some juggling. Ted Peterson been lost for the day. It looks like Boris is in his place. Rick Donnelly at the right guard in place of Corson. And Larry Brown enjoying his first playing time in many, many weeks.
For 7 weeks with a leg injury. Number 79 on this side of the line. Franco, been a quiet Thanksgiving for the All-Pro. Jimmy Williams made the tackle. Harris had only 14 yards rushing in the first half.
Of course, the key to good play on the inside, line blocking. Larry Brown, number 79, has got to be tired. He has not been able to practice a great deal. Working on Curtis Green, 62, certainly did a good job of keeping his man out of the tackle, but not a great deal of yardage on the play. Third and about 3 yards to go for the Steelers.
Hawthorne to the far side with Sweeney and Garrity to the near side for Stout on third down and about 3.5. He throws it away. So the Steelers unable to move the ball again against this tough Detroit defense. On comes Colquitt.
Of course, you can't just run block in this league. You've got to pass block. Curtis Green doing a little flip on Larry Brown and gets away from Brown, and that's really not Brown's fault. That's supposed to be a setup in the pocket. Stout ran out of there on his own and left his protection. Of course, when you do that, you're on your own.
Martin, a former Steeler. He was drafted out of Cal Poly San Luis Obispo by Pittsburgh. Short kick. That'll be returned. 31-yard line. 35. 40. And Martin struggles to the 48. Colquitt can't be happy with that one. He hit a line drive that gave Martin plenty of time. 42 yards and a 23-yard return. So the Lions will get the ball the first time almost at midfield.
Lions first and 10 after Detroit 48.
Reintroduce the Lions for you. Nichols and Chadwick are the wide receivers. Norris with a couple touchdown catches, the tight end. Billy Sims, the only running back behind Hipple, and it's Sims on first down. Breaks a tackle and ducks into the Pittsburgh 45. A gain of almost 7. Dwayne Woodruff made the stop.
The Lions are no dummies. They come right back with what's been working. Hand the ball to number 20 and let him do some work for us. Sims is not disappointing. Gets outside. Look how he cut inside of Mike Merriweather. Boy, the ability to see the holes, vision, and then the ability to hit those holes and accelerate is what makes a great back. Sims has all of that, the tenacity, the aggressiveness to go with it.
Right into the face of Hipple. And Thompson greeted by David Little and Jack Lambert. As they were ready for that call, no gain.
Little in place of Lauren Taves, who must be on the sideline. There's Jack Lambert, emotional leader of this team. Look how quickly he eludes the block on the inside. He's a tough man. He's at the bottom of that stack. Oof.
You forget that Lambert, by linebacker standards, is not a huge man. He's only 220 pounds. Many men playing that position 15, 20 pounds heavier. Third and short. A mix-up there. The Lions will have to punt. They haven't had to punt the entire game.
Dick, what's interesting, if you look at the defensive statistics for Pittsburgh, Lambert started this game with 115 tackles. The number 2 tackler, Mike Merriweather, 68 tackles. It gives you an idea of the number of plays that Lambert winds up at the bottom of.
Rookie from Arizona State, Michael Black. He had his problems at Green Bay against the Packers last week. He fumbled a couple of snaps. He said, I've never kicked in cold weather before. I was always at Arizona State, warm weather, kicking indoors here in Pontiac. He said, I just misjudged how cold my hands were. Brian Hinkle close to the block. Woods returns it and steps out of bounds at the 17-yard line. So Pittsburgh, trailing by 3 touchdowns, will have the ball deep in its own end. 32-yard punt, 5-yard return. It's been all Lions so far.
Lee Iacocca asked his engineers to build a sports car, make it fast, give it turbo power. 0 to 50, Chrysler Laser XE beats Camaro Z28. Make it handle. Front-wheel drive Laser beats Toyota Supra in the slalom. Back it with a 5-year, 50,000-mile protection plan and make it affordable. We did. Chrysler Laser XE. The competition is good. We had to be better. The new Chrysler technology. The best built, best backed American cars.
What would long-distance phone service be if it only served selected cities at selected hours? If there are no operator assistants, no person-to-person or collect calling? We know one thing, it wouldn't be AT&T. Calling anywhere, anytime, long-distance operators, and over a century of commitment. That's AT&T. The more you hear, the better we sound.
Reach out and touch someone.
Did we ever get a final report on Peterson?
The Steelers winning 7 in a row. We're going to check on the report on Peterson. And then lost to the Viking last Sunday. Pittsburgh has never given up more than 28 points all year. Gave up 24 in the first half to the Lions. Pollard. And he's hit hard at the 23-yard line. Mike Koper, 66, made the tackle, and Merlin was down by 3 touchdowns. The Steelers came out on their first possession, second half, tried to run the ball, couldn't move it. Will they change their strategy?
I'm sure Chuck Noll would like to. but I don't know that he has the horsepower over there right now to do it, Dick. He's got the revamped offensive line with 2 of his starters out. Abercrombie, his big play man, is on the bench. I think they're going to have to. I don't think they have any choice.
Come with a blitz. Stout. Nice play by 29 Bruce McNorton. Laid off the receiver. And he saw the ball thrown and made his quick move and broke up the pass.
Ball reaction. Defensive backs conscious of the quarterback, conscious of the time when he starts the throwing action. Take a look quickly at Stout going back. He's going to have a good chance here to get the ball in the air, but the defensive back's just too quick. Give him no chance on this one. Dive across in front, swat that ball away. That's good reaction by the defensive back.
3rd and 5. And Sweeney, no good. He was out of bounds is the ruling, and the Steelers don't like that. So they'll have to punt it away.
Very quickly, got a feeling of the frustration that has permeated the Pittsburgh sideline throughout this day. They just can't seem to do things right. Stout with 3 interceptions on the day, trying to get the ball in the air. Almost intercepted on the play before this one, and receiver Sweeney stepping out of bounds. 1 foot down in bounds, but simply put the other one outside.
Robbie Martin back at the Lion 33. A snap from Webster to Colquitt. There was Emil Boris with a snap. Martin at the 25. And the man who was the 5th round draft pick of the Steelers, make that 4th round pick in '81, returns at 10 yards. Detroit's ball, big lead. They have it at the 35.
Right from the beginning, he was a star. I never remember Franco not being a star, even the first time I saw him carry the ball for us. When Franco got here, it seems as though we were always winning.
Hertz announced Affordable USA. Great new weekly rates, like only $99 a week here in Texas.
Or only $99 a week here in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah, Arnie? Well, what about $99 a week here in sunny California?
Yeah! Or, OJ, only $69 a week here in sunny Florida.
Brutal, Juice, brutal.
Hertz Affordable USA. Rates guaranteed through May 31st.
Won ourselves a lion, let's all give a cheer and celebrate with a nice cold beer. Bull! Bull! Beer does not compare to the taste of a bull. Keep your kitty cat in beer. Get the Schlitz malt liquor full. It's bold and smooth, you will surely say. It's got more taste than beer any day. So don't say beer, say bull.
My lion for a bull.
No one does it like the bull.
Been a tough game for the Steelers in more ways than one. Peterson out with an ankle, Scansey a concussion, Abercrombie with a knee, all of them not returning for Pittsburgh. Alvin Hall is out for the Lions. Billy Sims crunched at the 36-yard line after a gain of a yard, and another Steeler is down.
Keith Willis on the ground, and that young man who's had such a sparkling season, leading the Steelers in sacks, indeed one of the leading sackers in the league. And boy, this has been a brutal day for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ralph Berlin, who's already been busy in the training room, got to wonder what's hit him.
Willis, the top pass rusher for the Steelers, 13 sacks, and the pain on the field and the pain on the expression of the head coach.
Dick, we talked last week about what you need to win in the playoffs, and I think the first priority is you've got to be healthy going into the playoffs. And just looking at the injury list, got to be a little scary for these Pittsburgh Steelers.
They work on the lower right extremity of Willis. Well, our big weekend of sport on NBC continues, as you saw. The fight doctor, Larry Holmes and Marvis Frazier. Between them, 54 fights, no defeats. Larry Holmes, 44-0, heavyweight champion. He said that if Marvis Frazier beats him, he doesn't care what the WBC says. He'll hand deliver his heavyweight championship belt. We'll also have one of the outstanding, exciting fighters in the world, Boom Boom Mancini, on the card. That's all tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, live prime time, 6 o'clock in the West. And Willis limping off.
Talk about delivering a championship. You think Jim Brown will come and take his belt off and hand it to Franco?
You know, I did a little detective work this week. Do you mind if I share what I saw down in the basement of your house?
No, that's all right. Go ahead.
I saw Deacon and Lamar and you and Rosie working the front four, planning to come back.
We're looking at some film. That's all black and white film, Dick, but it's good film.
So watch out, Jim Brown. Hipple to Norris, and a flag is down at the 42-yard line as Norris makes the catch. Oh, he has been left alone today. This one apparently is going to go against Norris for a push. So the receiver, working his way open, used his hands illegally.
Officials much more conscious, it seems, in this day and age of the way the offense has learned to manipulate the defense. And with the rules so heavily in favor of the offense, you see the bump right there as Norris simply drove his shoulder into Mike Merriweather, number 57, pushed him off, got over and made the catch, but they're not going to let it stand.
Only the second line penalty. It'll bring up second down and about 19. Norris from Georgia. Monty Clark is from Kingsburg, California.
Dick, this is the kind of situation that Pittsburgh has capitalized on all year. Long yardage situations. They get the pressure on the quarterback and then get the takeaway.
They need that now. Hipple rolling away from that pressure. And misfires on the sidelines. Norris and Nichols, two receivers, were there together.
Questionable decision on Hipple's part. Receiver covered. He could have picked up an easy 8 or 10 yards and stepped out of bounds and would have been looking then at a 3rd and 10, 3rd and 9. As it is, he's looking at a 3rd and 19.
It is interesting that Monty Clark, with a 3-touchdown lead, is throwing the football here in the 3rd quarter. That stops the clock with 9:34 left in the period.
Well, he's probably instructed Hipple. If the man is not open, get it out of bounds. Throw the percentage passes, and you saw it there. He delivered that one out of bounds.
3rd and 19.
Short pass here. There it is.
To Sims, giving him some running room. 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. And Billy Sims all the way to the 31-yard line. Three-yard play.
Well, when you've got a horse, get him the football. Stretch the defense on this one. Good blocks by Elias and Lee in front of the runner there. And look at it right at the end. Now watch the action. Well, we're not going to see it, but he flips that ball up at Woods after he goes to the ground. A good hard tackle here. And after the action is over, he flipped the ball back at him. Said, hey, none of that.
First down at the 31. Dexter Bussey. First call for Bussey today, and the man was the all-time Lion in rushing yardage. Picks up another first down, 13 yards, and there's Billy Sims. You think there isn't a heart inside that man. He loves to play and he loves to win. He's been frustrated. He said it, and he's shown it. He's broken up a table on the sidelines. He does not like to lose, and you can see that in the character of his play. Well, who does like to lose?
He does not like to lose. And Woody Woodnopper, defensive coordinator, got to be going crazy on that Pittsburgh sideline.
Dexter Bussey. And Bussey, with that carry, has now tied Altie Taylor for the most rushing attempts in Detroit Lion history. He needed only 17 yards today to reach the 5,000-yard mark.
Dick, you feel the tempo from up here. I guess it's like dancing, and sometimes you get out of step. The Pittsburgh defense has just been out of step all day. Detroit able to stay one move ahead of them. Hit them inside when they were expecting it outside, and vice versa.
2nd and 3. Bussey again. And he's just a handful now away from that 5,000-yard mark as they give Billy Sims a rest. And Dexter Bussey says, hey, I'll be glad to carry it. That's Hits at the start today, needed 17 yards, and on the last 2 carries, he's picked up about 12. And he has passed Aldi Taylor most carries ever by a Lion back. From the University of Texas at Arlington.
Passed another Utah Stater. We've got a few of our boys around.
Right, and one of them's handing the ball to him right now, the quarterback Hipple. First and goal. And Bussey has about 4 or 5 more. That'll put him right at the 5,000 level. Woods and Shell drag him down.
It looks like a pinched nerve for Rick Woods as he came up head-to-head. But Bussey with fresh legs just attacking right there. Almost knocked Woods off his feet. And listen to this crowd. Whoa.
Standing ovation for Dexter Bussey. He's hit the 5,000-yard mark. Rick Woods off the field appeared to have a pinched nerve. It's 2nd and goal for the Lions inside the 2. There's Woods. Billy Sims is back in. Sims diving. Touchdown. And the Lions have scored more points against the Steelers than any team this year.
When you come into a game ranked 3rd in the NFL in defense, you know you've been doing things right. You haven't allowed many teams to do to you what Detroit is doing right now to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, if their Olympic team needs a substitute vaulter in gymnastics in '84, they might look at the talents of this man.
Well, and you think about the rumors circulating here amongst his teammates that this is not going to be a situation that lasts long, that Billy has already signed and will be going elsewhere next year. You realize the scope of that loss to this team and to this city.
You can't let him get away. Reese McCall is okay. But what an effort as Hipple.
Watch the quarterback watching a gem of a play.
65 yards in 8 plays for Detroit. And with 6.5 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter, the Lions lead 30-3. And add one more. Billy Sims and the Detroit Lions dominating 31-3.
When you need your offense to make a big play, he can come up with it. Man, it's just we're thankful to have him, and I hope to keep him for the next 30 years, as long as I'm playing.
How's it going, Dad?
Oh, it's okay, I guess.
We all could see it coming. Dad, it's time we had to talk about computers. And now that time's at hand. Come on, these guys are smart.
Make friends with the future at Computerland. Make friends with the future at Computerland.
We've helped more kinds of people buy more kinds of computers than any other store in the world.
Boy, he's really catching on. I'm very proud of him.
You demand quality and durability. Plymouth builds it in. The 550 Plymouth Reliant K. The highest mileage 6-passenger car in America. Match it. Match it for price, celebrity. The 550 Plymouth Reliant K. Backed with a 5-year or 50,000-mile protection plan.
Match it if you can.
The new Chrysler technology. The best built, best backed American cars.
You've read the newspaper accounts. You've seen the photographs. Now, score it for yourself. Hagler Duran at a special time on NBC Sports World, Saturday.
Eric Hipple launching Billy Sims. I think he wanted the goal line.
Does he get excited about it? Holy mackerel. Well, he'll buy that football. He doesn't care.
That one's on its way to Briggs Stadium, and that's how it shakes for the Detroit Lions as Billy Sims and company have a 31 7-3 lead. 6.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Murray to Odom at the 12. He's tackled at the 25-yard line. 58, Steve Doig. Rob Rubik, 84, made the tackle. Took them 8 plays, less than 4 minutes to go the 65 yards. Dexter Bussey in the process had the crowd all excited about gaining 5,000 in his career, and Sims with the payoff. Franco Harris, the lone running back behind Stout. Stout rolling out of bounds at the 28-yard line. A gain of a couple.
Take the Pittsburgh Press talking to Chuck Knoll, and he was recalling his first season, and they opened that year with Detroit, a game they won. And they said, do you remember much about that game? He said, no. He said it was followed by 13 defeats. And he said, I do remember quite a bit about those games. Well, his experience here, quite a bit different than that particular experience.
Steelers had not lost and have not lost so far on the road this year. 5-0. Their 3 defeats came at Three Rivers Stadium. But they're being blitzed today. There's a case where it appeared Jimmy Williams, a linebacker, was in the flight plan, and Stout had to throw around the linebacker, so he was outside, wide and incomplete.
Of course, this is one of the places that the Steelers miss Terry Bradshaw. Bradshaw's forte, getting the ball deep and downfield. Stout has been an effective passer on many occasions during this season, but most of the passes he throws and completes are of the short variety and not the deep ones.
Third down 8. Intercepted by Maurice Harvey, or was it William Graham? It was Graham, the second-year man, who had it all the way. He was reading the eyes of the quarterback.
Boy, you got to get that ball off in a hurry. You can't tip your shots. That's like telegraphing your punches. When the defense is reacting and when they're on top of it, they'll get there ahead of the receivers.
And rolling against your throwing arm, going to the left and then having to throw back really minimizes the area in which you can throw.
Mel Phillips, who's been coaching these defensive backs, has them all fired up. Look at, boy, they're sick to death to miss that one, but they got more than their share today.
Colquitt. Another short kick. Robbie Martin at the 32. And he's out across the 40-yard line where Odom and Taves make the tackle. And Colquitt not at all happy about his punting, and it has not been a good day for him. 39 yards. And we'll take this timeout.
You demand quality and durability. Plymouth builds it in. The 550 Plymouth Turismo 2.2. 0 to 50 in under 5.9 seconds. 1984 Turismo 2.2. Match it for price, Camaro. The 550 Plymouth Turismo 2.2. Backed with a 5-year or 50,000-mile protection plan.
Match it if you can.
The new Chrysler technology. The best built, best backed American cars.
In Olympic bobsledding, our lives depend on our equipment. She's got to hold together under more G-forces than a space shot. The whole team pitches in, because coming down the run, this sled's all we've got.
The Olympics take teamwork, and Budweiser is proud to be part of that team. This Bud's for you.
Larry Brown, number 79, after 7 weeks off.
Can't be ready to play. That deeply bruised leg has kept him from playing a great deal of football. There's some fatigue on both sides. You play a short week like this, the body just doesn't have a chance to get back.
That was Graham who nearly came up with that last interception. And the Lions with the ball at the 41-yard line. Billy Sims, the lone running back. The Steelers were in waiting Robin Cole and Mel Blunt. Eddie Kayat with two of his prized interior linemen, Doug English and William Gay.
Well, they're a pair of real sackers there. Kayat terribly proud, just like the papa. He's proud of his boys. Done a good job of coaching the defensive line here.
Ball at the 40, a loss of a yard for Sims. He has 62 yards on the afternoon. Deep down the middle to Chadwick. 28-yard line of Pittsburgh. "31 yards to the free agent, rookie Chadwick."
And after lulling the defense with the short passes and the running game a good part of the day, Hipple goes for the bomb, delivers it right on target, and Chadwick, showing us some fine speed, pulls away from the linebacker right there, Merriweather. You just can't match those wide receivers on those linebackers and expect it to work out properly. Safety's nowhere in sight on that one. You've got to give him some help, gentlemen.
Sims, a couple of yards. Well, we've seen the Steelers a lot during the course of the last several seasons, Merlin Olsen. I'm sitting here deliberating. I can't remember a game in which they've been so thoroughly outplayed.
I've seen them play badly. Most of their defeats, Dick, if you'll recall, they have contributed heavily with turnovers. That's been true today. But I think what you're referring to is the battle on the line of scrimmage and the individual contests, and it seems that they have lost the high percentage of those today.
Whether it's the short week or the injuries or the fact they've just caught a very hot team, the Lions, who are after the Vikings. It's been a Detroit day. Woodruff on the blitz, and Billy Sims was all alone. There wasn't a Steeler within 15 yards of Sims, but of course, in Hipple's defense, he didn't have much time to find him.
Harry Dunn leveled Hipple, and Hipple laid there for a minute, knowing that he had missed a wide open Billy Sims, and I think would have liked to lay there a little bit longer, maybe try to get another chance for a pass like that. A sure touchdown. That one's just got to be hung out there anywhere, and Billy will go get it, but ball just overthrown.
Remember, Hipple is actually the third-string quarterback behind Danielson and Comlow, and he started on a national telecast, a Monday night game, threw 4 touchdowns, ran for a couple of more, and was instantly known around the country. Out of the shotgun, 3rd and 9. Gary Dunn, the 4th sack for the Steelers. Did you see the acrobatic play by Gary? He was completely somersaulted, bounced back up, and still pressured the quarterback.
Fine athlete. We have not seen Keith Willis return to the lineup, as we showed you his demise earlier. See if you can see that. Oh, there he is, diving right off the ground on the first bounce and in on the play. You're right, Dick. Excellent play. Gary Dunn slamming Hipple to the ground.
Rick Woods is back at the 10 as Michael Black will punt for the Lions. His second kick, the other was 32, but was in the same position where he didn't have a lot of field with which to work. Did a good job of just catching that one and then sends it into the end zone. So he fielded that on one hop, like Lou Whitaker there, picking that one off. Timeout in the Silverdome.
To endure.
Video.
Well, the Lions are flying 31-3 over the Steelers, who have the ball at their 20 on the punt into the end zone. 3:03 left, 3rd quarter. Frank Pollard. And the big 218-pounder from Baylor has a first down and a little extra with Alvin Hall. We were talking the other day, Merlin, about the position you feel is the very toughest on the 49-man NFL roster, the toughest spot to play.
You know, I think it's a position that both Cliff Stout and Eric Hipple can equate to. It's the number 3 quarterback, the guy that carries the clipboard. Has to be totally prepared with a game plan every week and knows he's not going to play, and yet has to do all of that work, and then has to stand on the sideline and work the phones and the clipboard. I think it's the toughest job on the team.
First down, Pollard again. And he's out to the 40-yard line. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Detroit Lions and the National Football League is prohibited.
Second and 4 at the 40.
Second down, 4. 2:28 left in the quarter. Lions 31, Steelers 3. Calvin Sweeney to the 47 of Detroit. Jimmy Williams dragged him down, number 59, along with Bruce McNorton, a 12-yard gain.
Cliff Stout doing a good job of looking the defenders off on that play, initially looking in the opposite direction to the receiver and then quickly snapping back.
And we receive the increasingly bad news from the sidelines. You look at Mark Malone. Keith Willis, the top sack man, he has a sprained ankle, will not return for Pittsburgh.
Well, they better send a hospital plane for this team.
Stout pumping, throwing, up for grabs. Intercepted by Bruce McNorton. His second today, his 5th of the year. That one was up for grabs.
A pass that Stout should not have thrown, but he's got to have some help from his receivers when the ball is up like that. If they can't get to the ball, they've got to be defensive backs that go up there and try and keep the defender from getting that ball. Sweeney, we saw him stop earlier on one play, and this will irritate his coaches as well. That ball coming down, he's got to fight for that ball, goes up and almost quits on the play until he realized the man has got it. He's got to do a better job than that, Dick.
In the meantime, you saw McNorton. He just played his man as well as you can. And look at the leaping ability, shielding his man almost like taking a rebound. A gourmet chance, and he gobbled it up. Draw to Sims. Oh, my. His tailgate was flapping. His jersey in the breeze created by his own energy, and Sims all the way to the 45-yard line.
He has got to be getting tired. We told you 35 carries, a new Lion record last week, and he has been a busy man today, just ripping and shredding through the Steelers secondary. And I don't think that many people around won't tell you that that's the toughest tackling secondary, or as tough and aggressive as any in the NFL. Sims has made them look bad today.
22 on that play, and Sims with 86 on the game. Last minute, third quarter. The Lions are feasting. Dexter Bussey a couple of yards. Dwayne Woodruff with the tackle. Bruce McNorton, you should be happy.
Maybe these Pittsburgh Steelers know how the Christians felt now.
That's right, a turnabout. And there's a man. Or the Lions and their fans, I don't know how well this team or franchise could absorb the loss of Sims if indeed the rumors are true that he will sign with a USFL team in Houston. You just can't, you can't lose stars. You just can't let the great ones get away. And there aren't many you can put that tag on, but this man has earned it. He is a great player. Final seconds, down to 4 seconds of this third quarter, and the fans are happy in Pontiac. The end of the third quarter, the Lions 31, the Steelers 3. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Friday, Tommy goes ape over a beautiful woman, but she wants to monkey around with Mr. Smith.
I'm in love with an orangutan.
She was 3 feet tall and covered with orange hair. I could go for her.
In a pint-sized exorcist jar's Jennifer.
Tear off your shirt.
And it's Poltergeist Panic on Jennifer's Left Ear.
Be there.
I may be a professor of English, but sometimes I'm best understood when I speak German. Beck's.
Beck's, the #1 imported German beer.
Live at 5 Thanksgiving Day, Peter reviews the new movie A Night in Heaven. Liz Smith reports on turkeys, the Broadway kind, and we'll talk to actress Helen Gallagher from Tallulah. Do join us.
Unbelievable. Simply unbelievable. I fly a lot of miles on TWA and I can earn free tickets. But now TWA also counts miles I fly on Eastern and Qantas. My miles add up faster, so I can earn free tickets sooner. Free tickets to almost anywhere on Earth. Imagine TWA doing that. What in the world will they think of next?
You're gonna like us, TWA.
To get the best beer in the world, you have to speak German.
Beck's.
Beck's, the #1 imported German beer.
Channel 4 wishes you a happy Thanksgiving.
Well, from all of us on NBC Sports, we wish you a most pleasant holiday. Here in the Silver Dome, the official attendance, 77,724. The Silver Dome seats over 80,000, and it was a sellout. Harry Kippel and the Lions from the Detroit 47, leading 31-3. Most points allowed by the Steelers all year. Swing it, incomplete. Bussey.
Lions using this opportunity, Dick, to put a few substitutes in the game. Rich Stringer gone in for Keith Dorney. Stringer, they're very high on him. Monty Clark said his first player I've ever had to look up to.
Time of possession twice as much in the hands of Detroit.
Obviously, statistics favoring the Lions tremendously, and perhaps the biggest statistic other than the score, the turnovers. They just have eaten the Steelers alive today.
Robbie Martin's seeing some duty. He's a wide receiver out to the left. And Freddie Scott split right. Nipple on 3rd and 8. Chadwick, and you won't see that youngster drop many like that. It was right there. Well thrown.
And from the vantage point of the quarterback, you get a chance to feel like you're right in that Detroit backfield. Ball on target, and this is just a classic error. The head went away before the ball was caught. You see the frustration, and that's something I'm sure if you could ask that young man to give the clinic, he'd say, you got to catch the ball first and look it in.
Look it into your hands. Michael Black, he lines one to Woods at the 13, 20. And Woods from Boise State, where he was part of the 1980 NCAA AA champions, has a 9-yard return. Tom Tenor made the tackle for Detroit. We have a timeout.
I think the biggest play of his life was when we played Oakland and the ball bounced off of Frenchie Fuqua's chest and he caught it and ran it in and put us in the playoffs. And he's just been doing great things ever since.
When you buy word processing from Wang, you get more than just the best-selling word processing in the world. You get an easy-to-use system that opens the door to the world of office automation. An incredible world that can include data processing, voice and image processing, even worldwide communications. No wonder more people choose word processing from Wang. When you consider all the things it can do, it's an open and shut case.
With all these points, the record's mine, that's clear. Let's buy a man a nice cold beer. Bull! Bull! You get a baseball blue when the bull is here. The small liquor bull will give you more taste than beer. So don't say beer, just say bull. The slick small liquor bull. Hey, the bull really scores! No one doesn't like the bull.
Franco Harris, only 4 carries, 17 yards. Billy Sims has had the crowd on its feet. A couple of touchdowns. Harris, Doug English. There's no hole, and English, 258-pounder, All-Pro last year, made the tackle. Pro Bowl starter, in fact, the last 2 years, number 78. I wonder, what are your feelings if Terry Bradshaw were completely healthy, if that arm, elbow, muscles were okay? Would we see him?
Interesting question, Dick, and I'm not so sure we would.
Stout, no catch. The ball bounced into Garrity.
Chuck Noll, the kind of a coach that really, once you get things going, once you've been down the road with him for a while, will stay with you. I don't think he'll open this quarterbacking contest back up until next training camp. Indeed, if he does then, although if Terry were healthy, I'm sure Terry deserves a chance to get back and start. But there is a possibility that he would bring him onto the roster for an occasion like this when his deep passing ability could be helpful.
Stout to Franco. Not much there except William Graham, number 33.
It has been a dominant day for the Detroit Lions, dominating both the offensive line of scrimmage and the defensive line of scrimmage. The numbers for Franco extremely disappointing, but at the same time, when you're not getting the performance up front, virtually impossible for a running back to be getting any yardage.
An empty note that he now has caught 300 passes, 3 yards on that one. Robbie Martin back at the line, 32. Boy, Colquitt lines it again. 25, 30, 35, and out to the 40. And even though Colquitt got some distance on it, when you kick them that low, there's just too much time for that return man to break in the clear. It's been all Lions.
There is a revolution on the American road, an automotive revolution led by Dodge. The latest evidence, Dodge Daytona Turbo Z. Backed by standard 550 protection, turbocharged, fuel-injected, front-wheel drive. The fantastically balanced, performance-bred Dodge Daytona Turbo Z.
Get going to Sears 2-day sale, where doors open 8 a.m. tomorrow for bargains like $10 to $40 off all exercise bikes in stock. Or this ColecoVision video game system, now $119.99. Save up to 76% on game cartridges, over 60 titles. Plus, save 1/2 on Sears Best Steady Rider radial tune shocks, now $10.99 each. They come with a limited warranty for as long as you own your car, including labor if bought installed. So get going. On sale through Saturday.
You've read the newspaper accounts. You've seen the photographs. Now, score it for yourself. Hagler Duran, at a special time on NBC Sports World, Saturday.
Today's Thanksgiving game is being brought to you by the new Chrysler Corporation, moving America ahead with advanced technology. By AT&T, the more you hear, the better we sound. And by Budweiser, proud sponsor of the U.S. Olympic team. For all you do, this Bud's for you. Oh, I do enjoy those little musical bridges, the little classics here on this Thanksgiving Thursday. Mark Malone, who has not taken a snap from center all year in game action, apparently is going to see some duty, Merlin.
Why not? Things are not going well. Looks a little bit like Tom Selleck to you?
He certainly does.
Yes, he does. Send him out to Hawaii. He can take a lot of heat off Tom.
Who's Tom Selleck play for?
The baseball player, isn't he?
William Graham. Relaxing on the sidelines. The Lions have the ball at their 40-yard line. Hippel still at quarterback. Sims is still in the game, and a fumble. And a whistle before the snap, apparently. Hippel did fall on the loose ball.
Been a couple of occasions today that Steve Mott has apparently missed the snap. But the young man who's a fine center, he's created a problem or two today. One snap that went over the head, but okay. And I think perhaps again, when you have that many people on the line moving, it's usually the center who's missed the count.
Steve Mott, number 52, the center. It's interesting that Mott's idol, and he's not in there now. It looks like Tenor is in there. That maybe explains why there was a fumble snap. But
sure does.
Mott, the rookie from Alabama, even picked 52 because his idol's Mike Webster, having a chance to play against him today.
That helps me to understand why snap was missed.
First and 15. Oh! Hippel tripped over the 30-yard line and still gets up. Incomplete.
Now, occasionally, quarterback falls down like that, disappears, you end up with a big play. Defensive backs can't figure out where he's gone. Things slow down. Looks like he hooked the foot on the carpet here. Maybe the foot of, one of his retreating guards, Homer Elias. knocked him down. He's still quick enough to get up, delivered the pass, but unfortunately not into anyone's hands. There's Mott on the sideline talking to Fred Hoagland, the offensive line coach here. Just terribly pleased with the way this young man has come on. Not drafted that high in the draft, but has come in and taken over #1 responsibility as a center, and that's a tough job today. All the calls he has to make.
Second down and 15, and it's Amos Fowler who is the center. Billy Sims tackled by Keith Gary after a short gain to the 38-yard line. So it's Fowler. We want the Tenur family to be upset with us. He's at guard, and it was Fowler who has replaced Mott at center. Veteran from southern Mississippi. Gary Danielson, perhaps we'll see him before the day is out. Oh, I can almost smell the aroma of a pumpkin pie wafting. Little gravy and a little extra.
Yeah, a little extra.
On the,
I'm afraid I'm going to have leftovers. I got to get all the way to the mountains.
We are leftovers. Hipple throwing long for Chadwick. No, he was out of bounds. He did not get the second foot down as his momentum carried him out of bounds. 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
But that's a great strike. That's a prettily thrown pass down that sideline. Young man not quite disciplined enough to keep his feet in bounds, but still a well-executed play. Count the steps now. One inside, second one right on the line. Yep, good call by the officials. There's Hipple. Boy, he threw a strike on it.
So the punting team on. Michael Black with Rick Woods at the other end for Pittsburgh. Down at the 30, a flag has been dropped back at the line of scrimmage, and holding is the call against the Lions. We'll see if Pittsburgh elects to have them kick over again. It was only a 32-yard punt. And Mark Malone asking whether they're going to take the penalty or not, but it's obvious that Malone will come in as the quarterback. It'll be the first time all season long that Cliff Stout has not taken the snap from center for Pittsburgh. Malone has not played for a couple of years, probably best known for the fact that he has caught only one NFL pass, and that was for 90 yards and a touchdown.
Holding, still fourth down.
They'll make him kick it over, hoping they'd gone after, tried to block that last kick, and I think they're trying to put a little pressure on Mike Black back there. Young man made a couple of mistakes last week. Pittsburgh would love to see one here. I'm not so sorry, or not so sure that Stout's sorry to see the bench at this point in the game.
Whoa! Almost blocked, and there'll be a penalty. Yeah. Sam Washington ran into the kicker. Woods runs into the Lions at the 46-yard line, but the penalty will be against Washington, who was right in on top of Black and did make contact.
31 and 41. Washington and two of the defenders in very quickly. Looked like they had a chance at the ball. Donnie Shell in there along with Washington. From the punter's standpoint, look how quickly they're on top of him. Washington is up right in front of it and hits the foot. Now watch the foot extend here. He misses the ball and extended all the way out, ends up running into the kicker's foot. Almost a great play, but as it ends up, they turn the ball back to the Lions, and that's all Pittsburgh needed. More Lion offense.
Automatic first down at the 33-yard line.
Chuck, that's the special teams coach there. He can't yell for the special teams coach.
Chuck Noll in his 15th year. There have been few games of this sort in the last 7 years. Another penalty, this time against the veteran Mel Blount for the early hit. And the truth of the matter is that for Noll, the one thing for sure, this is a case where the head coach burns the films. I don't think he can go back and put your team through it.
47 defense, first down.
Because no one has really done anything very well for Pittsburgh today.
No, there aren't many bright spots in this day. And one thing we've always noticed about Pittsburgh, when they're having a bad day, there's an area that clears out around Chuck Noll. Now, they give him a lot of room. He'll start moving one direction. You notice those guys, they'll back right up. Look how much room he has on that sideline. I don't blame him.
Yep, give the head man some space. Steelers 82 yards now in penalties. Here comes Billy Sims. Surprising that Sims is still in the game.
I'm just thinking the same thing. The one thing you don't want at this point is to get your number one man hurt, and Sims has already done his job. Time is clicking down, just over 12 minutes to go in the game. It's virtually, the way the game is being played, an impossible situation for the Steelers, and yet Monty Clark still has Sims in the ball game.
Green Bay and the Lions, both 6-6, one game behind Minnesota. The Vikings play at New Orleans on Sunday. Sims again. Maybe they just want him to get his 100 yards. Whoops. Sims and David Little. Sims saying, hey, you heard the whistle, let me go.
Sims is an intense football player. It is frustration in that loss in Houston, and that certainly, if you want to look at the highs and lows in this season, that game, the low, this game to date, certainly the high. Well, you saw the hand go to the face mask there, and I think that's what irritated Sims. Even though he did not use the face mask, hand was into the face.
You think he doesn't have leg strength? Did you see how he fought off Little? 11:15 left in the game. 31-3 Detroit. Incomplete. Intended for Chadwick. Well covered by Harvey Clayton, a rookie from Florida State. Franco, he's giving the world some room.
Well, when you've been through the good days, you must also be able to take the pressure on the bad days. This is not one that Franco will write about in his diary.
As they say, the bad news is we got clobbered on Thanksgiving. The good news is, no matter what, we're still in first place. Black
lined that one.
Hit it right through the end zone. And it'll be first down Pittsburgh at the 20-yard line. Well, the Detroit Lions in this 44th annual Thanksgiving Day about to even up their record 21-21.
He accomplished a lot before he came to us, winning the Heisman Trophy, and a lot of pride goes into being able to accomplish that. It makes all the difference in the world having a player of his caliber, his ability, because you know that if you just give him a crack, that he's going to make the most of it.
There is a revolution on the American road, led by Dodge, and it's changing the way America drives. With a 5-year, 50,000-mile protection plan, the most front-wheel drive models in America, the most turbocharged models. An American revolution. A turbocharged revolution called Daytona, a transportation revolution called Caravan. We are Dodge, an American revolution.
This Bud's for everyone who takes on the heavy loads.
This Bud's for you. For all you do. The king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, just for you, that distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do. This Bud's for you.
For Marvis Frazier, the time has come. His dream becomes reality. For Larry Holmes, a new challenge on his turf, the ring. Plus Ray Boom Boom Mancini, tomorrow night on NBC Sports.
Apparently, Gary Danielson will quarterback the Lions on their next possession. There's the remaining Detroit schedule. They have 12 days to prepare for Minnesota. Thursday game, of course, off this weekend, and then they don't play till Monday night against the Vikings. That, of course, will be a direct battle for first place. Frank Pollard running hard. Fantetti and Hall made the tackle for the Steelers with a 2-game lead prior to today. Cleveland chasing them. It'll be Cincinnati at home, at New York on a Saturday, and they finish at Cleveland. So a Cleveland win this weekend with a Pittsburgh loss, that would be a 1-game lead, and they still have to face Cleveland in the finale. So they're hardly home free.
And the Jets are playing better. Certainly a big victory for them the other night. That's not going to be an easy game away.
running the ball and catching the ball, and he's out to the 35 with the first down before Bobby Watkins can make the tackle. Mark Malone thus has his first completion of this last 2 seasons. He's thrown the ball only 88 times, as you see. The man he's replaced, Cliff Stout. Malone 45 for 88 as a pro, 3 touchdowns, 5 intercepted, all in 1981. Now the Steelers trailing 31-3 here in the 4th period. Less than 10 minutes remaining. Pollard back inside into the arms of Gary Cobb. Doug English trailing the play. Pollard stopped at the 39 after a gain of 4.
Not much to salvage in a game like this, Dick. You begin to just gradually put it behind you, and I think you may be absolutely on the head with it, that in a game that's as ugly as this one, Chuck Noll may decide not even to show it to his players. Just put it away.
Clark already said that regardless of what his team did, they'll have every time off until next Monday. That ball seemed to be trapped. But they call it a catch. Now the other official comes in and said no catch.
Up off the ground.
Little disagreement with the officials, but from our angle it appeared the ball bounced in. Yes, and that's by majority is the ruling.
Well, and I think that's a good thing that they're doing these days. Very often the officials, if they're a little bit unsure, they'll say, let's get it together. Did you see it? Did you see it? And in that case, obvious to our camera that the ball did indeed skip off the ground. The official right on top of it, not able to see the ground underneath it. But wisely, the call made by those who had a better vantage view.
3rd down and 6. Noll chewing on someone.
I think he's got a lot of choices over there today.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's not the kind of meal he wanted, though. Malone wobbles it out there, and in a way it's a good thing, as that ball was tipped that Alvin Hall was in perfect position for an interception. Well, we want to send along a special happy Thanksgiving to one of the outstanding people in sport, Mr. Art Rooney, the owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They too are celebrating their 50th anniversary. I know he's with a holiday in Philadelphia with family, and one of his very favorite players, he told me, was Bill Dudley, running back, who also starred here with the Detroit Lions, one of the 8 Lions to be in the Hall of Fame. Bring back some memories. We want to run down those Detroit Lions who've been so honored. Colquitt to Martin. 25, 30, 40. One man to beat, the punter, and Robbie Martin's all the way for a touchdown. Boyish 5'8" Martin, 81 yards.
I think Monty Clark is on the sideline wishing he could bank a few of these points for that game against Minnesota. But Martin just turning it on, and a little carelessness. Certainly some fatigue on the part of these Steelers, but they're not the proud championship team that they need to be if they're going to go on into the playoffs and do well.
Well, a smoke bomb has been thrown on the field by someone totally inconsiderate of all else here. That's the first touchdown return for the Lions this year, the first ever for Robbie Martin, and as an ex-Steeler, it must have felt especially good for him to make that romp of 81 yards, and the Lions lead 38-3.
This inventory. We've got too many sardines, not enough salmon. We all could see it coming. Come on. Where to? The future. And now that time's at hand. Computers? We don't know computers. They do. Make friends with the future at Computerland. Make friends with the future at Computerland.
We've helped more kinds of people buy more kinds of computers than any other store in the world.
The future looks pretty good.
Before Dodge Aries K, there was no way to get the benefits of front-wheel drive in an American wagon. Standard 550 protection, room for 6, and a solid resale record. A whole lot of what you buy a wagon for. Which explains why our Aries family has joined over 300,000 American families.
We are Dodge and American Revolution.
Russ Thomas, the general manager of the Lions, in the Detroit suite, and how sweet it has been for his club. And Robbie Martin, happy young man, 81 yards for a score.
Sometimes it comes in bunches.
Well, I guess as a player you realize that sometimes those 21-20 losses are tougher to overcome than when you really get belted.
Interesting, Dick, that you're never quite as good as you seem on a day like today, or quite as bad.
Well said. Tim Harris dropped at the 23-yard line by Rick Kane, number 32 of the Lions. Horace King was also in the play. Mark Malone on the field for Pittsburgh. Lots for you on this Thanksgiving weekend on NBC. And for you golfers, how would you like to be in that foursome? Nicholas, Watson, Palmer, and Player. That's like the Hall of Fame of the sport, competing for $360,000. The Skins game Saturday and Sunday, 4 o'clock on Saturday Eastern Time. I guess they won't play for any hole that's, well, the minimum is $10,000, and they'll carry over if no one wins a hole. Should be a lot of fun. Weaving his way to the 30, to the 32, and near a first down. Martin Moss from UCLA, number 63, made the tackle as the Lions' second string getting a chance to see some duty. Gabe Rivera's not here today, and I know you want to send along your personal best, Merlin.
Certainly delighted in watching that young man as he made progress. Senior sack, of course, paralyzed, and we hope getting stronger. We'd want him to enjoy this broadcast. I'm sure it's hard for him to enjoy this broadcast. These are his teammates out here.
Pollard, big hole, 45. And all the way to the Lion, 36-yard line, and that's the longest play of the day for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Picked up an article from one of the Pittsburgh papers in the locker room in Pittsburgh. His locker is just the same as it was the day he left it. And, still very closely held by his teammates, who think often of him, and we do too. Send along our best to him.
While he was in the hospital, his wife presenting him with a son. So even in that tragedy, and as he fights back, and he is doing that, improving condition, plus welcoming a new Rivera to the world. Malone incomplete. McNorton on single coverage against Calvin Sweeney, doing a good job again. We understand that that lovely lady and those youngsters in there are the family of Ken Fantetti.
Yeah, they've got to be pleased with the fantastic day that Fantetti and these Lions have had today.
Well, he's already a winner with those faces at home, huh? How'd you like to see them around the tape? 36-yard line. Here's Fantetti, who calls the signals, leading tackler for the Lions. Pollard to about the 33-yard line. Now, we teased you a bit when we talked about the Detroit Lions, who are in the National Football League Hall of Fame down in Canton, Ohio. Well, I remember growing up near this spot as a farm boy over in Armada, Michigan, watching Bobby Lane and Yale Larry and Joe Schmidt and Jack Christensen, those champion teams of the 50s. All of those four men all now in the Hall of Fame, along with Dutch Clark, the very first quarterback of the Lions, Bill Dudley, Night Train Lane, who played here in Detroit, and Alex Wojciechowicz, all with Detroit Lion history in the Hall of Fame. 3rd and 6, and intercepted by Roosevelt Barnes. And Barnes on the run. He's at the 50, the 40, the 30. One man to beat. And Malone knocks him out of bounds at the 2-yard line. Barnes, who was known as a basketball player at Purdue, he lettered 4 years, was on that Final Four team in 1980, played only 1 year of college football, and Roosevelt almost had a big Thanksgiving treat.
As he walked in toward the locker room today, I stopped him. I said, "How do you feel about this one?" He said, "Hey, I feel great." He said, "I'm going to go out and pick one off today." Amazing. He just did it. And had it not been for Mark Malone coming after him, he would have carried it in for a touchdown. Ooh, look at the shot that Malone took. Still gets up off the ground and then comes all the way down. Just a couple of weeks ago, we saw Mark Wilson make this same kind of play and end his season. Malone taking the defender Rosie Barnes out of bounds, just short of the touchdown.
70 yards on the return for Roosevelt Barnes as the Lions have 5 steals, and they're about to add to their 38-3 lead. And believe it or not, Billy Sims is still in the game. He's got the ball and a flag down. I believe there was motion in the backfield of Detroit. Jan Hippel, the wife of the Lion quarterback. The Hippel clan right there, and baby hugging her own little child.
Dick, I think the quarterback's wives really have the toughest job in the stands. Everyone knows that that's the quarterback's wife, and you know the quarterback is so visible that when he throws a bad pass, they all turn and look at her. I mean, it's especially tough on the bad days. She's got to be happy today. Eric had himself an afternoon.
Against the Lions, it'll be 1st and goal at the 9. Well, even the wives of defensive linemen. I know a pretty lady, Susan Olson, who's had to defend you.
She wasn't afraid to smack him on the head.
No, I wouldn't have said anything bad about you. Still won't. Billy Sims sticking his head into a crowd of Steelers, and David Little makes sure he's down at the 5. Little from Miami, and of course the younger brother of one of the all-time Dolphin greats, Larry Little, the many-time all-pro guard of the Miami Dolphins.
Dick, I wonder why Sims is still out there. He must want that 100. I think he must say, "I'd like to stay in and get the 100 yards.
He's got 98.
Well, if he gets it and goes in from there, he's got his 100.
That's what he's looking for. He has
up on it.
2 touchdowns. Despite the fact he missed 3 games this year, he's already over 750 yards on the season. Gary Danielson to Billy Sims. Was he in bounds? No.
He dropped the ball.
Couldn't quite hang on. He was trying to stay in bounds and catch it too.
Well, he wanted to turn up. He knew he was approaching that end line, and he wanted to turn into the end zone. And he's trying to balance the ball. Well, watch him here. First, he does an excellent job of getting open, screening outside. Rick Woods, 22, trying to get there. Now he's bouncing the ball, and look, he wants to turn into that end zone, and just made the turn before he got control of that football. And, well, he's unhappy. He can't be too unhappy, but he just blew an opportunity to get 7 more on the board.
Great job of covering the play. Our NBC crew working on this holiday and doing a great job as always. 3rd and goal. Wide open is Jeff Chadwick, his 2nd pro touchdown, and the Lion receivers have been incredibly wide open all day.
Saw the big smile from Gary Danielson. Boy, they are having themselves an afternoon. And again, they wish they could just put a few of these in their pocket and save them for the Minnesota game. Mike Merriweather, number 57, slipped down on the coverage. It appeared that he was trying to get back into the corner of the end zone. No luck.
Murray adds the extra point. And all season long, never have the Steelers scored so few, while the others have enjoyed so many points. It's 45-3. Some of the Steeler fans, of course, that's just joking around here. They're probably Michiganders who've come out to cheer for the Steelers for whatever reason, and now they're wearing the colors but hiding their faces. Well, we won't.
Even on a day like today, the Steelers can be proud of their record. They won't have any days like this one.
As we said, they're still in 1st. On Sunday, New England at New York, Baltimore, Cleveland, Houston and Tampa, the early games after NFL 83 at 12:30. Buffalo and the Rams. Cross-country affair, Denver at San Diego, Kansas City, Seattle. So join us for more on Sunday. The heavyweight champion Larry Holmes tomorrow night live on NBC. The Skins game, NBC Sports World has that Hagler-Duran fight for you on Saturday, and Sunday football. What a week of activity here on NBC.
Dick, we talked about the crowd and the role they might play in this game early, especially if the Lions got off to a fast start. Well, the crowd has lived up to expectations and beyond, as have the Lions.
Harris will not run it out. The ball, of course, the impetus from the kicking team, even though Harris may have touched it in the field of play, goes back in the end zone, and he takes the touchback. Heisman Award winners. Okay. Merlin Olsen. I was going to, well, don't show it. Don't show it to Merlin. I want to ask, I want to see how many of these Heisman Award winners that have played with the Detroit Lions you can name. I'll give you a hint.
I can get one right off the bat. Hopalong Cassidy. I do remember that one.
I thought you might say Billy Sims.
No, I got Billy Sims. You're really making it easy now. Well, let's let the folks at home think on that one for just a minute.
Hopalong Cassidy, Howard Hopalong, indeed, for the Lions from Ohio State. Mark Malone intercepted his last pass. Oh, my goodness. Calvin Sweeney belted by Maurice Harvey. And Sweeney is hurt. It has not only been a disaster on the scoreboard for Pittsburgh, the injury list has been incredibly high for the Steelers.
I'm sure that John Stallworth, Steve Corson were angry that they didn't get to come on the trip after watching the way this game has gone. Maybe they were the lucky ones. This has been a brutal physical game. That ball bouncing away.
And that's what we were talking about in NFL 83. The helmet is protects one so well, it becomes a weapon. Watch this. The helmet right into the chin. And, of course, that's a legal tackle, but in the old days when you had that leather mop on your head, you didn't throw your head into a body that way.
No, you throw the body across or you wrap the arms around. You didn't attack with the helmet.
And that was indeed an attacking play, and we're not putting the finger at Maurice Harvey. It's, you know, every defensive back, that's how they're taught, that's how they hit. Okay, do you have the one? Can I throw in one just only because he was one of my favorites out of Notre Dame and was one of the start around 1950 of the Lions' success of the 50s under Buddy Parker and George Wilson. Leon Hart.
Oh, okay. That's one I shouldn't have missed. That's one of the big guys.
Well, there are three others, and one was when I was a tyke. I used to copy number 37 of the Lions who played at SMU. The Doak Walker.
All right. Well, see, I haven't been around as long as you have.
I did ask for that, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Well, there's one here that you did play against, I think.
Steve Owens.
No, Frankie Sinkwich. A fumble. Doug Inglis was around the football, but I believe the Steelers were able to come up with it. Frank Pollard after his own fumble. And it was covered by the quarterback, Mark Malone. Here's the list. 6 Heisman winners. Billy Sims at the top of the list most recently. Frankie Sinkwich, great quarterback at Georgia. Hart from Notre Dame. Walker of SMU. Cassidy, Ohio State. Owens of Oklahoma.
An impressive list of trophy winners, and I don't think any of them with more courage and better demonstration of football than we've seen today from Billy Sims.
William Gay.
He's had himself a day, too. Well, he had been all over the field and up in the face of those Pittsburgh quarterbacks. And at some point here, I think Chuck Noll is just going to take off that headset and say it doesn't make any sense anymore.
I think you made the most candid comment, and it certainly illustrates this game more than anything. When you said one team isn't really that good and the other team certainly isn't that bad. 45-3. You can't take this too seriously, otherwise you would be better than 6-6 if you're a Lion player or fan. And for the Steelers, they're 9-3. They've been almost humiliated, but their season is still a very positive one. Robbie Martin, he's on the run again, runs into his own man, and down he goes at the 49-yard line. Russell Davis made the tackle.
There has to be a growing concern on the part of Chuck Noll, losing 2 games in a row, and especially in light of all of the injuries he has today. The time you want to play your best football going into the finale of the season. Looking at that number, with Cleveland just 2 games behind, you don't have that much room.
A Cleveland win on Sunday, and they're just 1 game back.
You bet.
And they play the Steelers in the final game of the season. We'll be seeing here on NBC. Monty Clark went to the same high school out there in Kingsburg, California as the great Olympian Rayford Johnson, his brother Jimmy Johnson, all-pro with the 49ers. And they're putting the heat on the Vikings. Green Bay's still a factor in that NFC Central Division race. And Sims, short yardage, a couple to the 49, and that should be right about 100 yards for Sims.
Well, let's see if he does come out after picking up the 100.
101 according to our master statistician Joe Costanza.
He's looking to the sideline. That must be what he's working at today.
Don't forget, on NFL 83, a very appropriate feature, a report on the important measures being taken to prevent some of the injuries in pro football.
35 rushes last Sunday, 25 today. That's impressive.
Well, he's got 12 days to rest. There goes Sims again down to the 44-yard line, and that's just to make certain that he has his 100. David Little made the tackle. Now, the Lions have that advantage, not only a win today, but a long breather before they play the Minnesota Vikings. Now Sims comes out. Well, the crowd that remains. I think you're right, Merlin. I think he asked Monty Clark, it's Thanksgiving Day, I want my 100.
I don't blame him. I'll tell you, he has earned the respect of the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. He's given them a little bit of lesson out there.
Dexter Bussey has the first down inside the Pittsburgh 40 with 3:18 left, and the Steelers down 45-3 to a Detroit Lion team that has put everything together today, offensively and defensively, and Chuck Noll would have to search a long time to find any positive out of this performance.
One thing you know about the Pittsburgh Steelers, though, Dick, they are a confident winner. They've been winning for a long time, and I think they'll be able to put this game behind them. You see one of the very negative aspects of the game, the ability to rush the football. And we talked about the importance of the running game early and how critical it was to this Detroit team. You saw what the lack of rushing has done to the Pittsburgh Steelers today.
Vince Thompson playing for the injured James Jones, and again the Lions doing this while the Steelers have had their injuries. The Lions started without 2 offensive men, Leonard Thompson and James Jones. Their 2 leading receivers, both with 40 catches. They didn't need them today.
Well, I honestly believe if Pittsburgh had been able to shut off Billy Sims early, this game would have taken on an entirely different complexion, because then Detroit would have had to throw the football, would not have had the options.
The baton is up. We're at the 2-minute mark. And now another fantastic finish.
Alcoa presents Fantastic Finishes. 1980, late in the game, Danny White and the Dallas Cowboys are 10 points down to the Falcons. White's pass to Drew Pearson makes it 27-24. And moments later, Dallas is on the march again. A field goal will not win it. White, under a fierce blitz, finds Pearson again, his second touchdown in just 2 minutes. The Cowboys win it 31-27.
The recyclable aluminum can is a product of the same Alcoa research and development that produced exotic new aerospace alloys, engineered satellite receivers for your roof, ceramic substrates for advanced computers, and high-strength aluminum for a new generation of cars and planes. And soon, a new recyclable can to protect your food as well as your beverages.
Olson, Dick Enberg, from all of us at NBC on this Thanksgiving. Thank you for saving a seat for us. The Detroit Lions 45, Pittsburgh 3. And the brows are furrowed and the lips lips of Chuck Knoll are pursing by the second. Keith Gary makes the tackle on Thompson.
I said a few moments ago, about time for him to take the headset off and say it doesn't matter, and it's gone. The game certainly is gone, and at least some time for thoughtful deliberation. There'll be a lot of pain that trip home for the Steelers, and it's almost going to be more difficult for them with this long week. They'd like to get another game under their belt and a chance to atone for this one. This is the one they're going to have to think about through that layoff until they get back on the field.
Gary Danielson and the Lions still throwing the football to Thompson, and he is down at the 40-yard line, bringing up 4th down and about 10. Thanks to our head men down there in the truck calling the shots, Ted Nathanson and Larry Cirillo. All the men and women here working on the holiday. Some smiles on that Lion sideline. And well, it should be. We want to thank also our help in the booth, Walt Doherty, Ron Grubbs, Buck Jersey, Ron Knight, Joe Costanza. 1 minute remaining. Rick Woods back, a crowd of 77,000 on a sellout, watching a big day for the Detroit Lions. Now let's acknowledge those folks who have played such a prominent role not only in today's telecast but during the course of this NFL season. And with this acknowledgement, our thanks. Our executive producer is Michael Weissman. Ted Nathanson, our coordinating producer, and the director today, Larry Cirillo, our producer. Ted Nathanson directing today, Steve Semino, and Joe Michaels. He's also our conductor of our NBC orchestra. The strains of Rossini, I believe. We invite you to stay tuned to NFL 83. They're going to try to chat with Billy Sims. We'll get the insight on whether or not he indeed was the one who asked to stay in the game when obviously it had been won by Detroit so that he could get his 100 yards. Henry Odom straight ahead, and that will be the final play of the game. In Detroit and in the state of Michigan, Thanksgiving Day belonged to the Lions.
And for the Pittsburgh Steelers, a long and painful ride home, but they'll be back.
The final score, Detroit 45, Pittsburgh 3, the most lopsided win for the Lions in nearly 15 years, and they beat a quality team thoroughly today. Monty Clark's Lions by 42 points.